stick Chapman or Rippon at the top. I mean, Rippon's a lower middle order, Chapman back middle order as well. So for me, it was not necessarily about form or dropping someone, and I don't think that would have been much for Ireland as well, but it just would have been nice to see a couple of changes.
Well, you know the team situation. Ireland have won the toss. They have elected to the latest odds with 888 Sport.
Form focus on talkSPORT 2 with 888 Sport. Made to challenge, made to debate, made to play. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
Well, it might not be that much of a surprise, but New Zealand are the heavy favourites for this one. 888 Sport have them at 4-1 on, with Ireland 14-5. So just under 3-1 for Ireland. In terms of batting, for the Ireland innings, the even mark is 150. So to go over 150 is evens. To go under 150 is 4-3 on. So they seem to be thinking that Ireland will be under 150. To be under 140, it's 5-2 on for Ireland. So probably not the highest scoring of matches. And in terms of over 160, if you think you can, if Ireland can make that, you can get 7-5 in favour of Ireland, that one. So the batsmen and fielders are about to be coming out. The very latest odds with 888 Sports. It is for over 18s only. Gamble responsibly. BeGambleAware.org.
Form focus on talkSPORT 2 with 888 Sport. Made to challenge, made to debate, made to play. 18 plus, BeGambleAware.org.
So the players are on the way out. Umpires have made their way out to the middle. Alex Wharf and Rolly Black, the standing umpires for this one, as they've shared the duties around between them. Paul Reynolds is going to be on duty for TV purposes, should we need any decisions. And here come the Ireland batsmen. Paul Stirling is there. Man, of course, Middlesex, Warwickshire, and had an okay time of it in this series by his standards, maybe even slightly below that. 13 from 16, as I mentioned, 21 from 15 in the second game. Andy Balbernie, 12 from 7 and 10 from 11. Ireland need the skipper to find some form in this one and to get us going. Jacob Duffy will be the man to bowl the first over. 3 wickets so far in the 2 games. 1 for 22 from 3 in the first, 2 for 20 from 3 in the second. Right then, Kath, what were we expecting? Sterlo running down the wicket and just trying to bop him back over his head early doors?
That is his MO. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see that today. He did try to get going in the last game. It's the first time we'd seen him really look to hit out with any kind of power. Got caught at mid-off in the last T20, so he'll be hoping not to make that mistake again today.
Right, Rolly Black says let's crack on with it, so we will do just that. Here we go then. First ball, Duffy, good carry, chest high, through to the wicketkeeper. Paul Stirling pulls the bat inside the line, but there's good carry there from Duffy.
Yeah, we're not seeing that so far at Stormont. We haven't seen so much carry as that, so that's really good to see, particularly for the fast bowlers today. Looks like a nice pitch, actually. It's got that kind of biscuity colour. A little bit of green in it, but it looks quite nice.
Alright, what's this one going to do? Is the first one a liar? Duffy goes in. Oh, it's down the leg side. Stirling's got underneath this one and paddled it around and over long leg. There wasn't a huge amount of control in that, and that's gone all the way for 6. Paul Stirling has Ireland underway with the maximum. It got big on him, and it was pretty high up the bat. It just looked like he's helped it around, and he's found the short boundary at fine leg for 6.
Yeah, he looked a bit surprised by that delivery, actually. Maybe the bounce that we saw in the first delivery strayed a little bit down the leg side, did Duffy, and he's just helped that on its way.
That's crazy stuff. Duffy in. Oh, and he beats Stirling with a beauty on that one. That again, sort of chest high, fending at that one a little bit. Through to the keeper, no run. Well, we've had two good fast bowlers' deliveries, and the other one is slightly down the leg side and disappears for a maximum.
We like the inconsistency, though, don't we? It's part of T20 cricket, but really good shape on that delivery. Stirling just hanging his bat out, lucky not to nick that, actually.
In goes Duffy. One slip in place, and Stirling has just put it wide of him. And that is one of those that he's actually trying to take the bat away, but it takes the bottom part of the bat, beats slip, there's a wide gully, it goes between the two of them, and it goes away for 4. Ireland are 10 without loss from 2 scoring shots, and I'm not going to be disrespectful, but I'm not sure Paul Stirling's known a great deal about either of them, and he's hit a 6 and a 4.
He hasn't, but isn't that sometimes the way when you're batting? That was the leave, actually, and then he thought, actually, I'm going to adjust my hands and hit it at the last minute. Got lucky.
Left it for 4. Duffy goes in. That's a lovely punch drop. That is 2020 cricket in a nutshell. That's the best shot he's played so far. He's actually got a full ball, timed it, driven it into the covers, and it's been fielded there for nothing.
And he looks frustrated, does Paul Stirling. That was a lovely cover drive, check drive, high elbow, lovely shot, and it gets stopped.
Neesham does well there, going away to his right-hand side at point. Pulled that one in. Well, we've had everything in the first over. Final ball of it. Stirling turns on the leg side through square leg. Ish Sodhi can't get round it from short fine. Finn Allen will do the fielding coming off of the mid-wicket boundary. Well, there you go. That is T20 cricket in microcosm form. 11 off of 6 deliveries. Paul Stirling, 1-4, 1-6, and Andy Balbernie has just watched the whole thing. 11 for 0, Ireland here on talkSPORT 2.
Yeah, Duffy a bit inconsistent in that over. A couple of really good deliveries outside off stump that was shaping away from Paul Stirling, that he didn't know anything about one of them. But he's got a bit of luck, and maybe that's the luck that Paul Stirling needs today, just to get going, just to get Ireland off to a good start in the power play. And that's going to be crucial today. Can they get a good start? Because so far they haven't, and they've left a lot to that lower middle order.
Ireland unchanged in this game. They won the toss. The only change they made was a change in approach, as they've decided to bat first rather than chase. And New Zealand making one change. Lockie Ferguson out, Blair Tickner in, and Blair Tickner will bowl the second over of the match. Big seam bowler. Comes in right arm over. Seems to keep a little bit low, or at least Paul Stirling played it as if it kept a little bit low there. Pushes it back to the bowler, no run.
Yeah, Paul Stirling looked surprised again. He's looked surprised by a couple of deliveries so far this innings. Blair Tickner's known to bowl a couple of bouncers as well, so I'm sure Stirling will be eyeing up that leg side boundary at some point, but he's an aggressive fast bowler, and he's got a wonderful haircut as well to suit.
He looks like he's come from 1978 Australia. I'll explain more in a minute. In he goes, full and straight, pushed back by Stirling. Bowler will field in his follow-through. And by 1978 Australia, I mean 2015 Australia, just 1978 everywhere else in the world. He's got, let's be honest, there's an awful lot of mullets going on in the world at the moment, in the world of sport, not just cricket. Business at the front, party at the back, but he's also combined it with the big moustache as well. He's on his way. Past Alex Wharf, the umpire. Lovely shot from Paul Stirling. Yo, beauty! Straight for extra cover, all along the floor. Not massive foot movement. That's all hand-eye coordination. He has timed the cover off of that.
Don't need to move your feet in T20 cricket. That's a wonderful shot. He's just stood and delivered. He hasn't even run when he's hit that. He knows he's pierced the gap. Once again, high elbow. Technically a wonderful looking cricket shot, and 4 runs to Paul Stirling.
4 more for Ireland, 4 more for Stirling. He's got them all, because he's faced every ball so far. 9 balls faced, 15. In goes Tickner, right arm over, slightly short. Oh, what a shot again from Stirling. Back foot, guides it, past backward point, but wide of Sodhi at third man. There's so little movement, it's just like a little jabbing punch movement, opening the face, goes away for 4, 19 without loss.
What was so impressive about this is he almost kept his bat straight and still pierced the gap at backward point. And that flew off his bat, didn't it? Really good hand speed, great power. He did run for this one, but he didn't need to.
Stirling waits. In goes Tickner. Coming forward, pushing to mid-off. Santner, the New Zealand skipper, will field. There is no run. I'm just going back about 15 minutes. I'm sure there were some people in this commentary box who were suggesting that maybe Paul Stirling might not play today. Yeah, what a bunch of wallies they were, eh?
Oh, that was not me. I don't know who. That was definitely Ian O'Brien, wasn't it?
Nobody around here would have been that stupid, would they? It's talkSPORT 2, bringing you live international cricket. And don't forget, we're also bringing you Ireland's T20 series against South Africa next month. So if you haven't got the app already, we can download that, and you simply swipe right to listen to the ball-by-ball commentary of that, and we'll keep you up to date with everything else in the world of cricket as well. Sterling turns this to short, fine leg, and it lands a metre short of Duffy. Oh, and Duffy throws at the stumps, because Sterling's gone wandering down the pitch. I have no idea what's happened between Balbernie and Sterling there. Sterling is standing 3 yards out of his ground. If Duffy hits the stumps with the throw, Sterling, well, it would be technically run out, but he wouldn't have been running. He was standing there watching. 2 overs gone. Ireland 19 without loss.
Yeah, he was almost out twice in that delivery. Nearly caught at short, fine leg. One bounce into the hands, and then nearly got run out as well. So, riding his luck a little bit is Paul Sterling, and Balbernie hasn't faced a ball yet. But 19 without loss is a good start. It's the most positive start I've seen from Ireland in this T20 series so far. Can they keep it up?
Yeah, welcome to the game, Andy Balbernie. The Ireland skipper will now get to face Duffy. In he goes. That's leg side. He's missed one. He's tried to flick it towards square leg mid-wicket. Been taken on the pad. Duffy appeals, but wouldn't have hit another set going down the leg side. But Sterling, the way he's seeing it at the moment, probably pings that through mid-wicket for 4. Balbernie wasn't that close to it and takes him on the pad, no run.
That was a good shape back in, actually, by Duffy there. He does shape the ball back in, particularly to Sterling, who has been vulnerable to it this T20 series, so it's not what you want first ball.
This one's down the leg side. That will be called wide. Yep, in the end, the arms are raised by Rolly Black, so 20 without loss. Just seen a replay of the yes-no interlude, and it was a proper yes-no interlude at the end of the last over. Because, of course, it's gone behind the batsman, so it's the non-striker's call. Balbernie definitely takes a few steps down, and then realises Sterling's not coming. This one's taking Balbernie on the pad, going down the leg side, drops into the offside, no run. So Balbernie then goes, well, are you coming or not? Sterling starts, and at that point they've stopped and started and stopped and started, and it's in Duffy's hands, who's thrown at the stumps. And Sterling knows that he may have many qualities in life, but raw speed is not one of them, so he's not going to get back any which way but loose. So his only way of survival is Duffy missing, and that's what happened. Balbernie faces, oh my goodness, how's that not bowled him? Nip back off the seam, just beats the inside edge, goes over the top of middle and leg, and it's through to keeper no run. It's like there's 2 different games going on at the moment. The game where Sterling's pinging it to all parts, and the bit where Balbernie is playing by numbers.
Yeah, that nipped back a long way. A long way. Got very lucky for that not to be bowled. He's getting a little bit of seam, is Duffy.
Andy, I'd run down the pitch and swing at one. It's got this written all over it. Duffy, goes in. Slightly shorter, round about waist high. Takes Balbernie on the body. And it remains 20 without loss. Balbernie's now faced 4 balls and hasn't got a bat on one of them yet, I don't think. And that one's copped him in the midriff.
Yeah, he's holding his stomach there. He's not happy, but he has to have an answer to this. Because Duffy, if you're bowling well, you're bowling a delivery that the batters aren't scoring off, and it is threatening, just keep bowling it, even though it's power play. Oh, hold on here.
Now this might be the moment. Duffy has overstepped, and therefore it's a no ball and a free hit. Do you know what? Andy Balbernie, just go full swinging, whirling dervish mode. Because if it flies off the middle and gets you going, how many times have we seen it? It doesn't matter this. Well, it does, but you can't get out. Right then, what's he going to do? Duffy on his way. It's a decent ball, roundabout off stump, and Balbernie clears the front leg and hits it through the cover 4, and actually goes down and punches gloves with Paul Sterling with a big smile on his face and said, I knew I'd get one in the end. He's away with a boundary. It's 25 without loss.
Yeah, that was a lovely shot, and that might be, as you said, the shot for Balbernie to get going. Cleared his left leg, opened up the offside. Nobody was stopping that. It was a wonderful shot. Free flow of his hands. Easy as you like.
It's brilliant. You know, they always talk about getting the foot to the pitch of the ball. I'll come back to that in a minute. Balbernie inside edges this one onto his pad, runs out on the onside to Guptill, short mid-wicket, and there's no run. They always talk about getting the foot near the pitch of the ball and play. If you get a chance to see that 4 later that Balbernie's just hit, the front foot is outside of leg stump, and he's cover-driven it square on the offside, so he's completely opened up the body, the face of the blade. Everything that they used to tell you to do, he's done it completely different, and he played a perfect cricket shot. In behind this one is Balbernie, out to the third man sweeper, and will take a single. 3 overs gone for Ireland in this third T20 international here on talkSPORT 2. 26 without loss. Sterling has 19, Balbernie 5.
Just shows you, coming back to that point about technique, that you don't need to get your foot to the pitch of the ball necessarily. It's all about head and hands. If your head's in line, you've got a good head position, you can hit through any cricket ball. Obviously different in Test match cricket to T20 cricket. So yeah, there he's just tried to open up the offside. There was nobody out at cover. He thought, right, clear my leg. It's a free hit anyway, and it's just got him going. And Balbernie very strong on the offside as well. So Ireland off to a good start here.
It's about having a base, isn't it? As long as you balance and your weight's going in the right direction, then you can play the shot anyway. And that's what Balbernie had, actually. He looked his best approach, actually, in the balls that he's faced so far.
Yeah, and you think of players like Jason Roy, Chris Gale, not a huge amount of foot movement, still hit a very good cricket ball.
Jimmy Neesham into the attack, and Balbernie has taken a huge waft at this one outside of off stump and does not make contact through to the wicketkeeper Cleaver, and there's no run.
Once again, a bit of bounce, actually. I think he might have held that cross seam. Sometimes when you hold it cross seam, it hits the seam, it does bounce a little bit more. Balbernie wasn't holding back on that shot, that's for sure. It was a full face, big swing, just missed the ball.
Neesham so far 2 for 19 in the first game, 0 for 10 from his 1 over in the second. 2 for 19 is his best figures away from home. He's given that, bent his back on that one again, and Balbernie plays and misses that through to the keeper again. Waist, low chest height, decent carry, no run.
Yeah, almost a carbon copy, and again cross seam from Neesham. So he's not looking to shape the ball, he's looking to hit the seam and make it bounce, and he's very successful at it so far. And Andy Balbernie possibly needs to hit that a little bit straighter. He's looking a little bit too square at the moment.
Well, there's been a fair few boundaries hit already, but a fair few dot balls and plays and misses as well. Neesham goes in, chipped by Balbernie, back over the bowler. Santner will field at mid-off, and they will be able to get a single. It was one of those that if you're going to mistime it, really mistime it, because Balbernie managed to get it past the bowler, but with so little speed they're able to scramble a single, even though it was fielded by the mid-off fielder inside the circle.
There's a little pitching wedge onto the green, wasn't it? And you're completely right, you don't want to time those because they go straight to mid-off or mid-on. So he did well there. Right,
Sterling on strike to Neesham. 4th ball of the over, in goes Neesham, and Sterling is opening the blade, guiding it to third man. Finn Allen will do the fielding out there. Just take the single, 28 without loss.
That was a lovely shot by Paul Sterling, just waited on the ball, played down to third man. Something Joe Root, I think, is probably the best player at doing that, just rotating the strike. And as we've seen, there hasn't been a huge amount of rotation of strikes, been a lot of boundary hitting. I think that's also key in T20 cricket. If you're not scoring, you need to be probably getting a 1.
Neesham is on his way past umpire Wharf, and Balbernie is having a swing at that one, misses. And it's through to the keeper. No run. And we're back to that. 2 different games going on again.
Yeah, I think Neesham should put a slip in here, actually. Balbernie swung and missed at 3 of these deliveries, and Sterling's just having a little chat to him there. Why not put a slip in? If he's going to keep going like that, you might create an edge and an opportunity. Third is in the ring, so that could be a catching chance too.
I was to say, it's almost a deep fly slip, isn't it? Short third in that position. But in that case, bring him actually all the way up. Balbernie off the back foot on this occasion, out to point. Phillips will do the fielding there, and there is no run. 4 overs gone then. So Ireland going along at 7 and over, 28 without loss. 20 from 13 for Paul Sterling. Balbernie 6 from 12. If you are just joining us here on talkSPORT 2, underway on time in Belfast, and we're not expecting weather issues. There is a little bit of cloud knocking around, but not enough to be an issue, so we're up and underway. We're hoping and expecting to get the full 20 in. Ireland unchanged, winning the toss. The only change then, the change of approach, batting first, New Zealand making a solitary change. Tickner in for Ferguson. New Zealand, of course, 2-0 up in this 3-match series.
The listeners are thinking, no rain in Ireland, surely. But we've been very lucky this series. There hasn't been any rain-affected games at all, so Belfast producing the goods for us today, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, joking aside, we're very lucky. You can almost trip over from Manchester to Belfast, can't you? I mean, they're relatively close, yeah. So far, nothing happening at Old Trafford today. Sterling will take the first ball of the new over from Tickner and puts it out to Neesham at point sweeper. Single taken, 29 without loss. The last word that I heard is that their last inspection was a few minutes ago, and actually they're now hoping to start at 4:45 at Old Trafford, 29 overs aside and a 15-minute interval. So that's the plan, apparently. We'll keep you up to date with that. Guy Swindles will be watching that one for us. Tickner is in, and Balbernie's swinging and missing through to the keeper. No run.
Balbernie again, same shot. He's hit that, I think, 5 times now, 4 or 5 times, and he swung and he missed on all 5 of those. So he needs to pick a different option here. He's getting frustrated. 6 off 13. He needs to look elsewhere with this delivery.
So what is his option then? Inside out over extra?
Yeah, or just clear his leg like he did on the boundary ball. Give himself a little bit of room.
Martin Guptill's in at slip, by the way. And Balbernie has come down the pitch and tried to go inside out, but has actually, you can hear the grunt of effort from Tickner as he bowls that through the stump mic, and it bounces over the top of the bat and through to the keeper. No run, but he at least tried it, Balbernie.
He did, and Tickner knows that he's struggling outside that off stump as well, has gone cross seam like Neesham, and he's just hitting that 6 stump line and going, Balbernie, try and hit me if you can. I think he needs to run at the line on this one if he's missing it by that distance.
He waits for Tickner. Edge! And almost brilliantly caught at short third. Wow! It clears Guptill at slip, which is no mean feat in itself. And the man at third on the edge of the circle, who is Duffy, went full length away to his left-hand side. It was an effort ball, and it wasn't sort of. It was sort of halfway up the bat also from Balbernie. He's swung at it, and Duffy. Oh, do you know what, Duffy? I think he maybe should get a bit more of a hand on that one. What's the phrase I'm looking for? Maybe a more athletic fielder gets more of a hand on that. Is that as polite as that can be on that? In he goes again. It's Tickner, and it's plinked down the pitch by Balbernie, and he's caught at mid-on. Bracewell takes the catch, and if I'm being honest, Balbernie's been put out of his misery on that occasion. First wicket goes down, 33 for 1, 4 overs and 5 balls. Balbernie goes for 10 from 16.
And that's well bowled by Tickner, because he's gone wide the rest of the over to Balbernie, and he has been struggling outside that off stump. Bowled that ball slightly straighter. Big celebration by Tickner. He's very happy with that. Caught a mid-on Balbernie, and he's frustrated. That was a frustrated innings by him. He never really got going. He couldn't really lay bat on ball consistently, and he goes for 10 off 16 deliveries.
It can happen. Let's be honest, that is T20 cricket. And any short form game, when you don't have many deliveries and you don't feel like you're contributing much, you start to grip the bat that bit tighter, and you can feel the pressure, and it's why we've seen teams actually retiring batsmen out, isn't it? Because rather than sort of wait for them to plink one in the end, they're like, come in number 2, your time's up.
I think that'd be the worst thing if you're international batting, you get retired out. Oh no, I couldn't think of anything worse personally.
The only thing I would say about it, I heard a discussion on the TV about this recently, and a really good point was made, was if we're going to have this retired out, then it should count as a delivery, because every other wicket in cricket counts as a delivery. If you're doing a tactical out in a short form game, you should lose that delivery, and I think that makes a lot of sense.
Absolutely, I totally agree. There's nothing but bowlers in T20 cricket anyway. We need to give them something, that's for sure.
Right, Lorcan Tucker is the new man. Oh my goodness, he's got a beauty first up. He's had a little walk at Tickner and has almost walked past that. It's through to the keeper, no run. Well, what a spell of 5 overs we've had there on talkSPORT 2. 33 for 1 are Ireland. Sterling 21 not out from 14. Tucker is 0 not out from his first delivery. Kath and myself will get out of the way because Ian O'Brien and Neil Manthorpe will be taking you through the next 5 overs here on talkSPORT 2.
I'm not sure. Evening, everyone, and Manners. Thank you, Kath and Andrew. I'm not sure Balbernie's been doing a lot of watching of the opponent's way of creating and starting an innings. We saw Dane Cleaver with real limited international experience, just a second T20. I'll come back to it in a second.
Neesham pushed away by Sterling wide of Sodhi at short third, and they're through for another single. 34 for 1.
We saw Dane Cleaver the other day, the second ODI, second T20 international, be two completely different batsmen at time. Like a Cleaver using the sharp side and then trying to cut with the blunt side. Like completely. That was a better use of that pun than I did the other day as well, by the way.
That was well done.
It was all right. But he was completely... And so we saw there in places Balbernie being two completely different batsmen. But he looked like he just had to get on with it. Like he was stressing out about being behind.
Neesham again, drive and a miss by Lorcan Tucker. Just come to the crease.
And it looked like he was trying to get out. So he wouldn't be eating up deliveries. He was only 2 or 3, I think he was maybe 4 balls behind in terms of a 100 strike rate. You pick that up, you make that up real quick. And Dane Cleaver in the second T20 international, I think he might have been 7 or 8 balls behind in terms of looking at a 100 strike rate. Just sat in and then ended up scoring at 130 overall.
Whipped away through the leg side now. It's a good shot from Lorcan Tucker. Ireland have given a number of players, 4 players, a run at number 3, and now it's Lorcan Tucker's turn today. He was advertised to come in at number 7, but he's up the order to number 3. So no change in the lineup, but change in the arrangement of the furniture.
I asked Kath the other day when we would see Lorcan Tucker possibly opening the innings as a keeper. And as a guy who doesn't mind sort of shuffling and getting across the stumps and creating runs on the leg side from straight or outside off stump deliveries.
Neesham again, that's leg side. Paul Sterling clips it away past Blair Tickner at short third, picked up by Daryl Mitchell at deep backward square, and they're through for another couple.
And I asked Kath Dalton, when will Tucker do you think he might open? Because he rotates the strike. He is happy to get across the stumps and get in line with the quick bowlers. Sterling, not so much. Likes to stay leg side and doesn't really want to get in line and sort of play through the leg side freely. Tucker batting at 3 here. I like this. This is good.
Neesham again. Little lap sweep attempted. Lap scoop attempted by Tucker there. Down on one knee. He's trying to basically sort of ramp it over the keeper's head. Is that a scoop or a ramp?
That's a scoop. I think a ramp is when you sort of still you're still with the bat, and that one he's sort of trying to lift it, so scooping it. The Ireland think they need 200 here.
Well, they look like they do.
They're approaching this as if they feel they need 200. This pitch has been a 150, 160 pitch. New Zealand have overscored in both the T20s, getting to 173 and then 178. It's not a high scoring ground.
That shot has resulted in a change in the field. Deep square leg comes up, fine leg drops down onto the boundary, and that one is steered away past short third, and deep backward point. Finn Allen can't get there, and that's 4 runs. Very nicely played. It's almost a late steer. Third inside the circle, and deep backward point almost at a wide third kind of position. Batsman seemed entirely aware of where the field was and steered it very nicely down to the boundary for 4.
I was a little bit surprised that that sort of backward point, wide third man didn't cut it off, but Finn Allen it was there. He was protecting the shorter boundary, which meant he would give himself more time to get round to the longer boundary and do the fielding. But such nice timing from Tucker that it bet beat Finn Allen to the boundary. And that's the kind of shot that was easy, that was simple, there was no risk, and lovely reward. I understand that scoops and flicks and that funk and finesse creates field changes, but I don't think you need to do it fourth ball of your innings when you're 3 from 3.
I'm laughing because Mitchell Santner's brought himself into the attack now. Slog sweep from Sterling. He's hit that very high and very long indeed. First delivery, and it's into the Oaks at the Dundonald end of the ground. That's a massive blow from Paul Sterling. And the reason I was laughing is I had an opportunity to interview Mitchell Santner, and regular listeners, cricket listeners, would have heard the interview, I'm sure, with Mitchell Santner. And I asked him about the captaincy. And he chuckled and he said, well, it does mean you get to do some of the easy things like bring yourself on in the 7th over. Which is exactly what he's done.
Oh,
hello. He said it in the manner of a man who wouldn't possibly do that.
Dry.
Very, very good. Sterling drives in the air uppishly to backward point, Neesham Fields, and there's no run.
A little bit of grip there. For Santner. This one's flatter, quicker. We saw spin in the second T20. Sodhi especially.
Santner in once again. Just drops that one a little bit short, allows Sterling onto the back foot, punches it out towards Tickner, sweeping at backward point. And Paul Sterling is up to 30 from 20 deliveries with that 6. The 7th over. Lorcan Tucker 7 from 5. 49 for 1 Ireland. Tucker on strike again as Santner is in and pushed away into the covers. Martin Guptill fields. What does Martin Guptill stand to gain? Well, go on. You say what you want.
I was just loving that from Tucker. Keeper doing what keepers do. They manipulate the strike. It sounds cliche, but that's what they do. They just come in and push it around for singles, get the sweep out every now and again.
Santner in, and that's punched off the back foot by Sterling, only as far as Guptill again at cover on the edge of the circle, and there's no run. Well, and particularly, you need to be selfless, don't you, in a situation like this. You don't necessarily want both to be looking to score boundaries, and if Lorcan Tucker's job here is to make Paul Sterling face as many balls as possible, isn't it?
Absolutely. Don't make Paul Sterling run twos, get him on strike. Well, sorry, I should have just said hit singles and get Paul Sterling on strike, and that's his job, and that's why that scoop shot, fourth ball of his innings it didn't feel right. Just lost a wicket, and Balbernie was ultra aggressive and looked out of touch and looked confused and disarray, and then came in. He scored 3 off 3 scoop, but since that scoop he's just played very, very nicely.
Ish Sodhi's about to come into the attack. Do you remember when the reverse sweep lost its novelty? Remember when enough players were playing it and players were learning it and practicing it? I mean, I don't know, I won't put a year to it, but it's probably 15 years ago, 20 years ago when it lost its novelty value, and that's punched away off the back foot out towards deep mid-wicket, and they go through for a single. Glenn Phillips fields. So batters who practiced it would then play it on the basis that they could.
I think it went out of favour until they started hitting it hard, as opposed to just deflecting it. So the reverse sweep was initially just a deflection. Beat the first slip if there was a slip and go find it. And then it's sort of, you could see the feel to that. Now, since they've been hitting it,
Sodhi in once again, too short, pulled by Sterling powerfully out towards deep mid-wicket, so powerfully it looks, and it's an optical illusion, like Glenn Phillips was knocked over as he fielded it. Hit really hard, only a single. And so actually the reverse sweep then, you need to play it according to the field. People would set a field for the reverse sweep, and batters would still play it because they could.
And then they started playing it with power and hitting it over the field, over those guys at short third man.
Sodhi in once again. There's a reverse sweep, and it's gone straight to Blair Tickner at what becomes short fine leg, was short third, backward point maybe, straight to the fielder. So reverse sweep bringing no reward for Lorcan Tucker, who's 9 off 8, and I just think that's why Lorcan Tucker played that little scoop shot. because he's been practicing it in the nets and he can. Because it wasn't the right time.
No.
Fourth ball of the innings. That's given lots of air by Ish Sodhi. I do enjoy that. He's one of the few leg spinners who genuinely doesn't just have a slight variation, even in T20 cricket. Oh, he's got him stumped. I beg your pardon. No, he hasn't.
That was first ball the other day. It was the most delicious leg spinner. It was just brilliant. I'm just watching some replays on one of our monitors. He always starts with a googly, except for the other day he bowled the most delicious leg spinner. Today was another googly first ball.
As I say, it does vary his trajectory and pace and flight more than the average leg spinner, more than most leg spinners, I think, in T20 cricket. This time it's punched down towards long on, and they go through for a single.
I do think some of the shorter ones are not part of the plan. I do think some of them are a little bit dump. They don't come out quite well, but he does set very good fields for when he misses.
Oh, and a powerful sweep shot, hit hard by Lorcan Tucker for 4.
He's a wicket keeper. He can sweep.
Isn't it funny how, it sounds like the most crude generalisation, but it is true, and it's always been true. Wicket keepers, because of their low centre of gravity, generally speaking, you get the odd outlier who's over 6 foot, but they nudge, push, rotate, strike, and sweep.
Yeah, Adam Gilchrist was the outlier, and if he was just beaten, he'd just throw wrist and it would go over middle wicket for 6 anyway, so he didn't really need to bother with the sweep. But Tucker there, he's not the tallest of guys, as most keepers are, and they spend, exactly like you said, they spend so much time low to the ground that a sweep shot really should be, and it is. There's very few wicket keepers who aren't prolific on the sweep.
Mitchell Santner in, slog sweep from Paul Sterling now, and I think it wasn't quite the right length of the shot, and he's ended up trying to pull it, but he was shaping for the slog sweep. He didn't manage to get down on his right knee.
That's bad shape, isn't it?
Yeah, he's down the wicket now, using his feet, driving powerfully on the bounce to Daryl Mitchell. Santner thought that would carry, and he holds his head in his hands in disbelief now that it didn't carry on the bounce to Mitchell. 59 for one island.
It just still feels that they're trying to get 200, maybe 220. It just feels out of sync.
Oh, and he's fetched that one as Lorcan Tucker from well outside the off stump and dispatched it with a wonderful improvised sweep shot through deep mid-wicket for 4.
I just pushed the replay button. He's a wicketkeeper and he sweeps. A wonderful sweep shot.
It's a fetch sweep.
He's such a long way away from the ball to hit it with that much timing and that much that direction. That is. That's a guy that can play. Really nice.
I really enjoy the fact that Santner's deliberately bowling wide of the off stump. Now the reverse sweep, and he's beaten the man at backward point, and that's 4 more. Well, I tell you what, he looks. I bet you, if he's ever played field hockey, I bet he was a very, very good hockey player, because he's just played a couple of short corner strikes.
That's Wayne Madsen. Have you come across Wayne
Yes.
Madsen? So South African born, plays for Derbyshire, and UK listeners would have seen him on TV in plenty of domestic games.
Down the wicket, he turns it into a full toss, drives it through extra cover. Could this be 3 fours on the bounce? It is. Wonderful cricket, Lorcan Tucker. 13 off the over with the ball to come.
This is smart too. Going back to Wayne Madsen, lovely, wonderful hockey player, and had those wrists that could hit the sweeps and hit sweeps from strange places like Tucker did there. He's reading the bowler really well. Staying in front. What's Santner going to bowl to me now? And I'm going to premeditate. And he's doing it well.
Santner goes, tosses it up wide of the off stump. He's prepared to buy a wicket as the Black Caps captain. That was beautifully bowled, and Tucker, well, in the end, looked like a kitten had caught its first mouse. He didn't know what to do with that ball. He just ended up flapping it to cover like he didn't didn't know what shot to play at
his
it.
helium balloons just come out of his hand. He's oh no. Yeah, what lovely delivery, and that's nice from Santner, but he's been schooled there as an experienced white ball bowler. He's been schooled from a vastly lesser experienced player in terms of he's read the bowler, Tucker. He's got in front of and premeditated right, and that's an over that is a little bit of a game changer.
Yeah, well, suddenly the over rate's looking, scoring rate's looking pretty good now. 9 overs gone, 71 for 1. Ish Sodhi in first delivery of his second over, and it's flat batted out towards extra cover straight to the fielder. No, really good cricket from Lorcan Tucker, and I do like this Ireland's search for a number 3. Unless their long-term plan is to have a rotating number 3. Smashed over extra cover now. Sodhi has been sterlinged over extra cover for 6. Brutal power. And that's what it was. Power over extra cover for 6.
That is a sterling stamp of authority. Getting that, I sort of say it as if a temp bowling back leg. Think of how the back leg sort of pops out when you're temp bowling. Same there for Sterling to open up those hips and hit it hard over extra cover and over the boundary. Delicious.
That was, I mean, it was.
Oh wow!
You wouldn't know that there could be beauty in savagery, but that's a googly from Sodhi. Next delivery, nice follow up, hits the inside half of the bat out towards square leg inadvertently, but it's good enough for a single.
How many times have you written that phrase in your beauty in savagery? Meaning you've seen A.B. de Villiers ruin teams.
Well,
and he is savage.
He was really just brute savagery.
But there's beauty in.
Well, there was, yeah. I mean, but I think that may be a first. I can't recall ever saying that before, but it was just such a powerful shot from Sterling. Quick single now. Again, Lorcan Tucker very, very quick between the wickets. Suddenly he's got 26 off 15.
Yeah, and he's playing reverse scoop for like. I hope that's a lesson. I hope that's one of the things that at the end of this game he reflects on, the coach reflects on, the batting coach reflects on, and they talk to him and they have I hope you've taken something from that, because you're a lot better than that.
Sodhi in once again. Another terrific orthodox sweep shot from Lorcan Tucker to deep backward square. Darrell Mitchell Fields. 79 for 1. Tell you what, Ireland looked like they're a team on a mission to score 200, and suddenly it looks like they might.
They've now got themselves into a position. If they go at 12s from here, they get to 201. It's a much better pitch, much cleaner hitting, and easier to get the pace of it.
Sodhi in once again. Good delivery, and Sterling has edged it to the keeper, Dane Cleaver. Well, the extra bounce from Sodhi. I don't know whether that was an overspinner from Sodhi, but it completely surprised Sterling. He was shaping to cut, or even just a late cut, and it's just bounced and taken the top edge, and a super piece of work from Dane Cleaver.
That's almost an Anil Kumble style wicket, quicker with that real good top spin, drops, kicks, and then good catch. Good innings from Sterling, and an innings where he was out of sorts, and then he was
a good
special
catch, wasn't it? Because it looked like he had to ride.
I think he was still riding with it anyway, but they were always they because of that noise. I think sometimes your hands stiffen up. I've never been a keeper, but when you hear that, I'm in the game, and your hands stiffen up and they pop out again. Oh, wicket on our last ball.
It is indeed. Halfway through Ireland's innings, they won the toss. They chose to bat first. Harry Tector has been, certainly one of the players of the series, but the player of the tour for Ireland. He comes out to join Lorcan Tucker, who's 27 off 16. Paul Sterling gone for 40 from 40 from a mere 29 balls. For the next 5 overs, you'll be with Kath Dalton and Andrew McKenna.
Cheers, Manners. What a delivery that was. Turn, bounce. Sterling, wow, Did well to touch it. Well, it's changed a bit since we were last on, hasn't it, Kath?
It certainly has, yeah. I think Ireland, fair play, have got themselves up with a good run rate. The pitch looks like it's playing a lot better. Unfortunate for Sterling to get out on 40, but it does bring in Harry Tector, and what a player he is.
Oh, good. Tector, Tuckner and Tickner. Here we go then. Best of luck, everybody. Tickner to Tucker. It's on his pads, worked through mid-wicket. It will be 1 out to the sweeper. Bring Tector on strike. 80 for 2. Oh, this is going to be the
very well done,
madhouse.
that.
Thank you. This isn't going to end well. I can see this already. Right. Just showing that Paul Sterling replay again. He can't quite believe that it's bounced in the way that it did, but it certainly did.
Oh yeah, he'll be gutted with that as well after getting such a good start. But laid a good platform.
In goes Tickner. Tector will be underway. Squeezing this one out to the cover sweeper Martin Guptill. Single taken. 81 for 2 here on talkSPORT 2.
Yeah, went for the Yorker then. That did actually shape back in a little bit to Tector, but he's done well to squeeze that out and get a single off it. Yorkers are such a great delivery. Love watching them in T20 cricket.
In goes Tickner. Right arm over. Big leap. Oh, and again, there's good carry. Through to Cleaver, the keeper. Tucker's beaten on the outside edge. 28 from 18, and he has a little wander down to prod at the pitch on that one. That, again, is a cross-seamer. So did it come off the seam or did it come off the shiny bit? Either way, it hurried on through.
It certainly did. It did hurry on through. And they have gone cross-seam a lot, New Zealand, so far. Seems to be a bit of a tactic they have going here.
Tickner in again. Oh, Tucker's tried to swing this into the leg side. Has got an outside edge and has been caught at third man. Duffy takes the catch there. He's trying to swing it away. It's either got the leading edge or even potentially the back of the bat, because he's ended up going at about 180 degrees to where he was actually aiming it. Third wicket goes down. Tucker goes for 28 from 19, and Tickner has 2 for 15.
Yeah, massive frustration by Tuckner. He's trying to hit that on the leg side and go with it, but he's got a massive outside edge on this, and it's flown down to third. And that's frustrating for Ireland. 2 batters that were in, and they looked like they were going. They both had good strike rates today. They were putting pressure on these New Zealand bowlers. New Zealand have done well to take 2 quick wickets, and this has just turned the feel of this game, the feel of this innings now. Ireland need to rebuild again.
Yeah, 33 for 1, and then Sterling and Tucker got together. Sterling, second man out, 79 for 2 on the final ball of the 10th over. Quickly becomes 81 for 3, and Gareth Delaney's coming out to join Tector, and between the pair of them, they've faced the grand total of 1 ball so far, so there is going to be an awful lot of pressure on it. I suppose you could say, well, they've got time here to face 3 or 4 balls, get themselves in, and then launch again. There is, because we're in the 11th over, there's a tiny bit of rebuilding time. Tickner for the 5th ball of the over, right arm over, swing and a miss. Again, another rising ball through to the keeper, no run. Tector plays over the top of that one.
Yeah, something Ireland have struggled with is that ball outside off stump. It's quite wide. It's a good length delivery. We saw Balbernie early on in his innings struggling with that delivery as well, and Tector playing a very similar shot, missing it. But yeah, you're completely right, Andrew. We need to see a rebuild here from Ireland, and they do have time. They've got time in these middle overs to rebuild.
Final ball of the 11th. Oh, it's another swing into the leg side that takes the outside edge down towards third man, and this lands in no man's land. Neesham is the man running back from backward points. Duffy's coming in from third man, and it lands safe, and Tector gets away with that. Well, twice in an over, they're looking leg side through square leg mid-wicket, and twice it's flown down towards third man. On this occasion, safety. 11 overs gone, 82 for 3.
Yeah, very, very lucky there. was Harry Tector. He could have been caught equally in the same way. You just cut that shot out. If you are the non-striker and you've seen two of your players do that, Gareth Delaney, do not try to hit that shot. Look for another option. And I think that's something that Ireland need to do, is if you've got one game plan to a bowler, say that is their game plan to go in the leg side, change it up if it's not working. And that ability to adjust is crucial in a T20 game.
Spin to continue. Ish Sodhi, his third over, 1 for 16 so far. Will be bowling to Tector. Aims into the leg side, up and over. Nice looking shot, and it will run away for 4. Straight drive, just with a slightly open blade. Finn Allen's not able to cut that one off. First ball of the over goes for a 4.
This is a wonderful shot. Great shot. Held the pose at the end. Slightly leant back just to create the elevation on the ball. Make sure it got up and over extra cover. That was a really good shot by Harry Tector. Good option as well.
86 for 3. 7.7 and over Ireland are going at. In goes Sodhi. Over the wicket. That one's a googly. Hurries on a little bit. Bounces. And Tector doesn't get anything on that one. Through to the keeper. No run. Just a reminder, of course, that after us, more live sport coming your way, because the World Match Play Darts continues at the Winter Garden in Blackpool. The darts on the radio. If you've never heard it, it works. I'm just don't question me. It just works. I know it shouldn't, but it does. Tector deep in his crease to Sodhi with the googly out towards long on. Phillips will do the fielding, and it's just a single. So yeah, the darts continues this evening. And they'll be underway. I think the first match is about 8:15ish. So plenty of time for the chaps to build you up into this evening's action as that continues.
Do you like the darts, Andrew?
I'll be honest, it's converted me listening on the radio.
There you go.
I can take it or leave it, but there's something incredibly mesmeric about darts on the radio. Sodhi is in, pushing into the offside. Is Delaney. There's no runners. Mitch Santner feels. It's not the first time we've done something. Many moons ago, and you'll laugh at this one, we did the Poker Million. Cards on the radio. That definitely shouldn't work. But it strangely did. Sodhi is in, giving this one some air outside of off stump. Delaney hits hard to long off. Fielded by Bracewell for a single. 88 for 3. Yeah, went over to the Isle of Man and did the Poker Million. It was a very odd 4 days of my life. Yeah, I'm sure it's in the first 10 years and indeed the first 20 years of talkSPORT book. Graham Beecroft commentating. Derek Thompson on a roving mic wandering around. Deep in his crease is Tector. Sodhi is again bowling the googly. Guptill will come off the long on boundary, and that's just a single. Well fielded by Gough. Probably should have been 2. But wasn't. 89 for 3 from 12 overs. Our Ireland here on talkSPORT 2, having won the toss and elected to bat here on talkSPORT. These are the thoughts of Kath Dalton.
Yeah, that was a really good over by Ish Sodhi in the end, because after that first ball he got hit for 4, up and over extra cover by Harry Tector. He came back and he bowled a lot of googlies. And that's something we're seeing more and more in T20 cricket, is leggies bowling a huge amount of googlies. And they're hard to pick. Harry Tector in the end picked it, didn't pick his first one, but worked it out in the end, and they just seem to be harder to score off, so really good comeback by Ish Sodhi.
5 bowlers used so far. Duffy's bowled 2, Tickner 3, Neesham 2, Santner 2, Sodhi 3, so you need to use 5, but of course if you've got a 6th, that means you can just sneak a couple in. I mean, Santner's gone at 10.5 so far, and indeed they are going to try and sneak in a 6th bowler, because Daryl Mitchell is going to come in. I'll be honest with you, a few weeks ago I'd have probably said I've seen enough of Daryl Mitchell to last me a lifetime this summer, but in the one-day unit, I'll take it on this occasion. He's right arm medium, and in he goes to Tector, and it's played to long on for a single. Phillips will do the fielding. 90 for 3.
And Ireland just need to keep doing that, keep pushing the singles, pushing the 2s into the outfield. There will be boundary scoring balls that they can hit the maximums on, and they can just keep putting the pressure on, keep this scoreboard ticking. They're laying a really, really good platform here. to really go at the back end of this innings.
Current rate gets them to just below 150. Which is probably about a par score on this ground. This occasion, Delaney is turning into the onside. It's going to have to be Mitchell chasing after this one himself. Oh, Phillips has done him a massive favour then. Phillips has sprinted off of the mid-wicket boundary or wide long on boundary and kept it to a single. That probably should have been two. Mitchell just realised he had to go after it. In the end, though, it's only a single. Great fielding work.
Yeah, brilliant awareness. Really good awareness. He knew that Delaney just hit it into that pocket and he was looking for two. That's what you have to be on those boundaries. You need to make sure you're aware as a fielder, always switched on.
In goes Mitchell, right arm over. Oh, down the pitch is Hector, inside edge, and chops it not a million miles away from his stumps, down towards fine leg where Sodhi is stationed on the edge of the 30-metre circle. And it'll simply say a single in the scorebook, which doesn't really do it justice, but it's 92 for 3.
They should paint pictures in the scorebook, shouldn't they? Get an artist down, make it more interesting.
Well, I'd like to know what picture they'd have painted or drawn for that one, because it was a bit of a hack across the line, but
it wouldn't have been a nice picture, that's for sure.
It would be sort of more Pablo Picasso rather than a classical sort of landscape scene, wouldn't it? It would be lots of harsh angles, and I have absolutely no idea about art. I'm digging myself a hole in that I'm never getting out, so I'm just bailing out at this point and say Mitchell goes in, and Delaney has dropped this one onto his stumps. Tried to ride the bounce, tried to guide it to third man and gets himself in a tangle, and Mitchell has a wicket. 1 for 3, Ireland are 92 for 4, and Delaney is dismissed for 2 from 4 deliveries.
And that's just consistency by Daryl Mitchell. He's just bowled a seam-up delivery. It has nipped back a little bit, not a huge amount. Gareth Delaney's got himself in all sorts of trouble. He looked like he was trying to hit this into the offside. He's seen it nip back, hit the inside edge and gone onto stumps. Well bowled, Mitchell, but not a good series by Gareth Delaney. He'll be hugely disappointed to be out bowled once again.
5 from 3 balls. A first baller in the second game, 2 from 4. I think we can call that a fairly underwhelming series, unfortunately. These things can happen. And now George Dockrell, one of the most experienced men in the squad, for T20 International number 98. Strides to the crease. He's a couple of runs short from 500 in this form of the game. Averages at 15.6 with a highest of 34 not out. Ireland would take that, but would ideally like a few more tucked on top. Strike rate 120, almost 126 in this form of the game.
You just feel that this is the phase that will set up the rest of the game. If Ireland can build a partnership here between Dockrell and Hector, then they could post a very, very good score, competitive score. However, if they lose another wicket here, it does feel like it could be ascendancy for New Zealand. So a lot of pressure on Dockrell, but I'm sure he'll relish this challenge.
Well, of course, it's the thing about sides that get into a bit of a losing run. You tend to find strange and interesting ways to lose games that you should potentially win, or don't put yourself into a position that you should. Here's Dockrell facing Mitchell. He's backing away, carves over third man, and Duffy, well, do you know what? He's watched that one drop over his shoulder, got in a bit of a tangle, and again, more agile fielder might have been taking the catch there. It will go away for 2, 94 for 4, but Dockrell straight away gave himself some room, outside edge, and flies over the field at short third in the circle.
I'm all for being positive, but also being switched on to the game situation. I have no idea why Dockrell's trying to make room on his first delivery. Duffy, I think he could have caught that.
Mitchell is in. It's a short ball, it's down the leg side, and it will be called wide. Mitchell turns around and says, "Oh, are you sure about that one, Rowley?" And Rowley Black says, "Yes, I am. That's why I've called it wide." Yeah, I'm afraid Duffy there was a bit like a giraffe that got a bit confused and was running around. There was some very long limbs going in lots of different directions. Unfortunately, not in the direction of the ball.
I'm sure I'd be delighted to know he looked like a giraffe trying to catch that.
Well, giraffe might have got it. Yeah, that wasn't really a thing of beauty there. 95 for 4, Ireland. Dockrell is on strike. He's backing away again. Now, Mitchell has followed him, dug it in short, and although it's miles down the leg side, it's not called wide because the batsman went so early. The umpire says, well, Mitchell, you have followed him, you weren't deliberately putting it down there. So that's the end of 13 overs. 95 for 4 at Ireland.
I think that's really clever bowling by Daryl Mitchell. He's seen Dockrell go early, and he thought, I'm going to bounce this bowl a short ball into you. You're going to have nowhere to go, and that's exactly what happened. That's smart bowling from a fast bowler. Fast bowlers aren't notoriously known to be smart, so there's an example of one being a little bit more smart, although, he can bat as well.
Well, I was just about to make the point about Ireland finding ways that they don't win. I mean, it's now 5 T20 internationals in a row that they've lost. The 2 against New Zealand, 2 against India previously, and then a game against the UAE as well. And since the COVID resumption, they played 28 games and won only 11 of them, and in their last 12 home games they've won only 3 of the last home T20 internationals. Ireland. Santner will start a new over. Tector is taken on the pad trying to turn to the leg side, and there is no run. So what I'm saying is Ireland are not in great form. To get a win in this might just be what they need to break that cycle, start them going forward again. Santner is in, and there's a bit of turn and bounce on that one, a bit quicker too as well, and Tector is beaten on that one, and it's taken by the keeper, and there is no run. Tector 10 from 11, got himself a bit cramped up on that occasion, backing away to leg. What's he doing on this occasion? Santner left arm around. There is turn there. Again was turned towards the leg side, takes the leading edge. Tickner has run all around that one, and actually it ends up allowing it to go past in the end, and they'll take a single. 97 for 1 out to the cover sweeper.
Yeah, you can see Tector's trying to make room, so Santner's bowling a little bit tighter to him, a little bit closer to him, not giving him room to free his arms. Loving the change of pace by Santner so far.
Of course, the skipper in these games, Mitch Santner, 63rd T20 international. In he goes, left arm around. There's definite grip because that would have been going a long way down leg side, and it ends up round about leg stump. It's been turned on the onside by Tector. They will take a single. Santner, again, because of the field that he's got set, he's only allowed 4 inside. He's only got 4 inside the circle, and it's all predominantly offside, so he's going to have to go herring out to the mid-wicket edge of the circle, and he does that, and it's just a single. 98 for 4.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit of turn, isn't he? Bowling nicely here. This over in particular, getting a bit of drift, bit of turn. Dockrell, let's see if he's got an answer to this.
In goes Santner. Well, he's backed away a long way, hammers it off the back foot, but Nisham is at extra cover inside the circle, and he's picked him out absolutely perfectly. No run. 98 for 4 it remains.
That's the frustration, is when you do time it and you hit it straight to a fielder. T20 cricket's all about hitting gaps.
Santner to finish his over then. In he goes. That is flat batted back past the bowler for 4. That is, it's a baseball clubbing motion more than anything else, because again he's backing away to the leg side. There is Tector, and he's just come backwards and clubbed it back past the bowler. Santner can't quite believe it. It flies past Alex Wharf, and neither long on or long off can get round, and he goes for 4. 100 up, 102 for 4 at the end of 14 overs here on talkSPORT 2 Ireland.
It doesn't always have to be pretty, it just has to be effective, and that certainly was effective by George Dockrell. We know he's very good off the back foot against spin, and he's looking to do that against Santner, so that was well played. Even though it looked a little bit clubby, it was certainly effective down the ground.
So again, just smidge under 7 and a bit and over at this stage, so we're looking at around the 150 mark at the moment. If they can get it up to 9s, then you'd be looking at sort of mid 150s. 11s will get you 168. Swing and a miss from Tector, and he's actually taken 2 or 3 steps down to Nisham. who's into the bowling attack once again, bowling his third over. 0 for 11 so far, beaten on the outside edge through to the keeper, no run.
You can see the intent there by Tector. He's looking to score now. Coming into this over, he's going to take Neesham on. He's using his feet. He has done that magnificently well against the seamers so far this series. When he does come down and use his feet, he normally gets a connection. But well bowled by Neesham.
Settles in, does Tector. Waits. In goes Neesham. Hits hard off of the back foot. Well fielded on the edge of the circle by Darryl Mitchell at extra cover. I mean, that got to him almost before he had time to blink. They've taken a single, and they'll take that in many respects, in the fact that it keeps the scoreline ticking over, but it's a very, very good shot that only gets 1 in the scorebook. So 103 for 4. Tector 14 from 15. Dockrell comes on strike 6 from 4 at the moment. Is what he's got. 3 sixes in the innings. They were all hit by Paul Sterling earlier as he made 40 from 29. Also managed to hit 3 boundary 4s. Law Kentucky hit 5 4s in his 28. Boundaries have dried up a little bit since. In goes Neesham. Oh my goodness. Backing away is Dockrell, trying to swing it over extra cover. It's gone straight over the top of middle stump. It cleared it comfortably enough in the end. If that one's actually pitched up, that's taking middle stump 3/4 of the way up, and everyone in the ground knows it.
And the New Zealand bowlers can see that the Ireland batters are trying to make room, so they just need to bowl a bit straighter. I can't understand that tactic by Dockrell. I know he's trying to make room for himself, but you've got to get yourself in line at least.
Well, let's see then. Fourth ball of the over from Neesham. In he goes. Oh, it's a short ball down leg side. That'll be a wide. Hey? Whoa. Rolly. Rolly Black has called that as 1 for the over. Now, is Cleaver having a conversation saying, it almost looks like the wicket, how's that say, he's saying, how's that not a wide? And that's the conversation that we're having. Wow, okay. New Zealand have made a field change, so all 4 inside the circle are now on the offside, and Dockrell, because he's backing away, plays it into the offside. Guptill at point will field, and they will take just the single. That was a wide, wasn't it?
I think so. Maybe because Dockrell's been moving a lot into the leg side, he's been moving away, backing away. Maybe the umpires had enough of him doing that as well.
Umpires now giving marks for style. Final ball of the 15th. Neesham goes in, swinging hard is Tector, but again it's bounced on him and beats the outside edge and through to the keeper. So that's 15 overs gone. 104 for 4. At the halfway stage, Ireland was 79 for 2. At the 6 over mark for the power play, there were 42 for 1. So, relatively speaking, they've kept the over rate, so the scoring rate per over, in a similar kind of vein. Tector and Dockrell, the not out men. 14 from 16 for Tector, 7 from 7 for Dockrell, 104 for 4. There's 5 overs left of the innings. Ian O'Brien and Neil Manthorpe will take you through them here on talkSPORT 2.
They've made a bit of a mess of this, Neil, haven't they?
Yes, but there isn't much time in T20 cricket, but they do have 5 overs to put it right.
Yeah, or make an even bigger mess of it.
Yes.
Which is how it feels. It just feels frantic. It feels Ireland are playing. Yeah, they're playing like they've got 20 wickets in hand. Like they get to go through the batting order twice.
Only 5 overs remain. Here is Ish Sodhi once again, and it's punched off the back foot by Dockrell to Neesham at backward point. And I think what we've seen is the experience of, although it's by and large a very inexperienced Black Caps team, they've played a lot more domestic cricket, high-level domestic T20 cricket, and I just think that in terms of decision making and reading of the game and reading of individuals, I think New Zealand have given the Irish a little bit of a lesson so far. And that one is slapped off the back foot by George Dockrell, hard, powerfully, parried by Mitchell Santner.
We've been so all but the fourth ball that Tucker faced. We were so full of praise for how he had gone about his innings, and then all of a sudden just did something dumb, and it was he had been playing so wonderfully, and then it was dumb, and that meant that Ireland had two new batters in at the one time when Tucker got out, and then I was just confused with that period of play where they lost 3 for 13.
106 for 4, that one down the leg side from Ishodi, and helped on its way by Dockrell. Again, Dockrell's preference for the offside is being exploited by the bowlers, both quick and the spinners. And that one from Sodi again, fired in towards the pads. It would have been a wide if he'd stood in his crease in the normal way, but in the end it's just a single tucked off the inside edge. So Harry Tector, 14 off 16 balls. Down the wicket he comes, mistimes the lofted drive over long on, all the way along the ground to long on, and they go through for a single as Martin Guptill fields. So there is a theory, and there was a very interesting article, really well researched article on Cricinfo a couple of days ago, that batters who believe they have got time to play themselves in and then catch up, that's outside the off stump now. It's very clever. Dockrell backing away to the leg side, and Sodi fire. Well, he's tried a different tactic, and Sodi has seen him, and he's a long way outside the leg stump, and he's had to reach for it. It's got a bottom edge, chopped it down into the ground, and there's no run. But there is the statistical evidence suggests that batters who believe, that the vast majority of batters who believe they can play themselves in at a runner ball, bowled him, Sodi, with the googly, between bat and pad, and he gives him the gentlest, most polite send-off you'll ever see, as he points in a very gentlemanly manner towards the changing room, the pavilion. It wasn't a send-off at all. I think it was more of a celebration. But if it was, I wouldn't have been offended if I had been the batsman. That's just a fabulous delivery from Ishodi. Lovely
Fabulous
stuff. 108 for 5.
Fabulous delivery, and a filthy hoy by Dockrell. He came down the wicket and slogged one. It was Dockrell that hit the single earlier in the over, coming down and getting it down to mid-on. And then this one, just such a good googly. And Sodi finishes his 4 overs, 2 for 27. He just keeps taking wickets in T20s. And today, very, very economical in comparison to how he bowls sometimes. Wonderful from Sodi again.
So I'm not sure if I finished my point. Yeah, the point about the article was that the vast majority of batters who believe that they can score their first 15 runs at a runner ball, or even 15 off 20, and then catch up, do more harm to their team than good.
Oh, hello. Is that right?
Yeah.
So the batters that get behind, and if we're looking at 100 strike rate, the batsmen that get behind in balls and runs, they actually do more harm.
They contribute more often to defeat than victory.
I guess that depends on the batter.
Yes.
You don't mind A.B. de Villiers getting behind. You don't mind Guptill getting behind too often.
But they are such a small minority. Short and pulled. That wasn't a great delivery, in all fairness, from Jacob Duffy, and Harry Tector smashes it over deep mid-wicket. And there are all sorts of extenuating circumstances.
The pitch conditions.
Exactly. Yeah. If it's a really low scoring, if it's, 120.
Like this first T20, Phillips was well behind, and he scored 60 odd. And then in the second one, Cleaver was well behind, and then they both got to about 130 strike rates by the end of their innings.
Here is Duffy once again, down the wicket, on the charge, Harry Tector, and it's misfielded at long off, and it's gone for 4. Who was the miscreant at long off? I think it was the captain, Mitchell Santner. I mean, it wasn't hit that hard. Actually, it was Daryl Mitchell. He's usually exceptional in the field. He just tried to stop it with one hand.
Yeah, that's one of those ones where you get it wrong, it's in your teeth. but you've got to go down with your palms out, both palms out, and you're just going to parry it in front of you. You're just going to push it in front of you, make sure it doesn't get past.
Here's Duffy once again. Short, pulled out towards deep mid-wicket and out! Straight into the hands of Michael Bracewell? Glenn Phillips. Glenn Phillips on the deep mid-wicket boundary. Didn't have to move very far, did he? And they're big boundaries.
Those pockets are 79 metres. I think it's like 64 straight and square. That's a big hit. And Glenn Phillips judges it nicely, a yard, and I'll go a yard, 90 centimetres inside the boundary cushions.
Didn't have to move very far. Harry Tector gone for 23 from 20 balls, and Ireland slip sliding to what you would think would be an inadequate total at 116 for 6.
Yeah, New Zealand struggled in the first one to get through to 130. They probably did get 20 runs more than they should have. They got reasonably okay through to another sort of 5 or 6 more runs in the second one. And this pitch just looks better to bat on than Monday and Wednesday's T20s. And Ireland batting first and that's the problem, batting first. It's very hard to know how hard to push, know how hard to go at the bowlers and what risks to take. And I think it's just that day in, day out playing quality cricket where you end up playing shots that you probably wish, well, certainly when you get back in the change room, you sort of thinking to yourself, that's not my best, and that doesn't look very good. Camphor, the talisman.
What can Curtis Camphor do? Nothing. Is non-striker's end for the first delivery as Mark Adair takes strike, and it's back of a length outside the off stump, off cutter from Jacob Duffy, and he tries to run it down to third man.
That wicket just all looked too easy, as if it was planned, as if it was. Here's an envelope. Sorry, that has really come out wrong. That just looked textbook.
Oh, and he steps way outside the off stump, does Mark Adair now, and flicks it from a foot and a half outside off stump, high up into the air and down to deep backward square. They go through for 2 runs as the throw comes in from Finn Allen, and Dane Cleaver takes the bails off. But wouldn't it? It just seems to me like Ireland have practiced all their tricks and innovations and creative shots, and rather like at a children's party, the clown has to entertain and do his balloon tricks and make a dog and a giraffe and everything else. It just looks like they're maybe trying a bit too much. That's better. Smashed in orthodox style. Just a little bit of room made outside off stump, and he's hit that from the base of middle stump over long off for 4. That's the way to do it.
Stand still and wait for the bowlers to make a mistake. You're good enough in between times to get some runs, to get a couple of singles, get a 2, hit a boundary even. Stand still, keep your head still at least. Adair did just back away a fraction, but sat on a delivery that Duffy's missed, and Adair's taken good advantage of it.
So 6 to Mark Adair to complete the over. 17 overs gone. Adair with only the second player hit a 6. Paul Sterling hit 3 sixes in his 40 from 29 balls, a top score by some distance in this innings. But Adair there with the 4th 6 of the innings. 3 overs to go, 124 for 6.
Can I just qualify that when I said about an envelope? Well, what I meant was you're sitting downstage, sitting somewhere, and you need a scrap piece of paper to write down some plans and get wickets, and always there's a used envelope that.
It used to be the back of a cigarette packet, didn't it? But nobody smokes anymore.
There, yeah. And so it's now a used envelope.
Here is Blair Tickner into Curtis Camphor. He now steps outside the off stump and tries to sweep this over short fine. I mean, there's some authenticity in the shot because fine leg is up in the circle. So there's a reason to play that. It's not just a party trick.
But the method in playing that is you still need to be still as possible. Camphor there is going across the stumps. He's looking for the shot, but there's an evasive action as well as trying to play the shot, as opposed to being still and making that contact.
Here is Blair Tickner. He plays the same shot and does get a little of a leading edge on it. It's gone straight over the keeper's head for 6. Curtis Camphor down there looking to play the scoop. Tickner has actually bowled a very good delivery. He's gone full and straight, and somehow he's still managed to top edge it over the keeper's head.
The difference from Camphor in this shot is his head was still when the ball was needing to make contact. His head was still, which means you just give yourself such a better chance of getting a connection. The ball previously, he was still making his way across the stumps. And it was a little bit messy.
130 for 6. 6 apiece to mark Adair and Curtis Camphor. As Camphor comes down the wicket now and completely miscues this, but he may have miscued it well enough to come back for the second. He has. Glenn Phillips runs around from deep mid-wicket to long on to pick up and field. Although going for broke now, Ireland.
Tickner picked up 2 in his previous over. That was his third. He got a couple of balls to really ping, really bounce through, and the 2 wickets came on the back of the batsman not acknowledging how it was bouncing.
Tickner and short and pulled, and very well pulled by Curtis Camphor for 4.
It's good shot. Got high, good height on the bouncer, and Camphor, he's enjoyed playing against New Zealand, and gets high again, head still. Eyes following it, wrists roll on top of it, and gets it in front of square for a very good boundary.
He's hit that off badge height, hasn't he?
Maybe even
higher?
A little bit higher. Which just makes the control that he got just that even more impressive.
And I'm talking about the badge on his helmet, not on his shirt. It was very high. Somehow managed to get on top of it. Driven down the ground, over mid-off, down to the boundary for 4. Well, that wasn't the right ball to be bowling with with mid-off in the circle. And he's got nice elevation on that, Curtis Camphor. And that's, that's 16 off the over.
Stand still, wait for the bowler to make a mistake. Yeah, I absolutely understand. You got to manoeuvre the field. You got to play a couple of interesting shots where the fielders aren't to open up a gap. But the power shots in this over stood still, and he's hit the ball where it's supposed to go. And I think that's an undervalued ability. Hit the ball where it's supposed to go, as opposed to manufacturing something.
I think that, just as I said a number of times, just because you have the tricks, you don't have to use them all the time. But it does no harm to have a little improvisation here or there. Tickner in, bowls a very wide delivery outside the off stump, and we were just talking off air, well, you were explaining to me off air that Tickner hasn't been in his best on this tour, and again, I was clearly trying to bowl the wide Yorker, but he just seemed to lose his shape a little bit.
Big shape, yeah. I don't think he's been repeatable, and that's something for a quick. You want to be your action to be repeatable. And it's been given as a no ball.
Well, he was given as a wide. The umpire then corrected himself because the no ball obviously comes before the wide. So it was a wide. It's now a no ball. The wide is cancelled. The no ball is scrawled into the scorebook, and it's a free hit. Here is Blair Tickner again, bowls, and Camphor launches into this. Just basically a slog, and he comes sprinting back for the second as it runs out towards deep mid-wicket.
The thing with Blair Tickner, if you could sort of superimpose his action on top of his action on top of his action and sort of have that transparency in the layers, I think you'd see you'd see some real big movements of winning. If we just take what looks like in bowling a stock ball, I think you'd see a lot of changes in his action when it really should just be, you should just see one solid action as opposed to sort of shadows and arms sticking out in different places. It just hasn't been a good tour. It's a couple of times it's looked like he's sort of hoping and wishing. And his third over today was wonderful. Got some real good pace, kick and bounce, and got a couple of wickets. And then when the pressure went on in that over, he's some good hitting and found himself in a tough position.
Went for 19. His first 3 overs, he brought in figures of 3 for 16, and then he went for 19. Oh, full toss from Jimmy Neesham, which is flicked away by Mark Adair for 6, and very, very well caught by a man wearing Barry McCarthy's shirt.
One-handed. What a beauty.
It's not Barry McCarthy, is it?
Yeah, that's not the best delivery from Jimmy Neesham. He's gone across the stumps early, has Adair, and I think Neesham's sort of gone, right, well, I'll try and hit your stumps on the full, and Adair's just, that's the ramp, or the what were you calling it before? The scoop. And the flick. That one's just a little flick. Didn't really have to put too much on that to get it up and over.
And it's not McCarthy, it says it's McCann on his shirt.
I said McCann, and then you said McCarthy, and I jumped on with you because that made more sense.
No, sorry.
Oh, well.
Slower ball and launched away down towards long off for 4 more. Well, I tell you what, productive last couple of overs for Ireland. 19 off the last one from Tickner, and now 10 off the first 2 deliveries from Jimmy Neesham.
And having New Zealand's last 3 overs against Ireland in the Monday, the first T20 here, and Adair was the bowler that bowled 18 and 20. That got taken for 30 plus in those 2 overs, and it's Adair here that's having the return.
Another full toss, another launch down the ground, straight back over the bowler's head. 6 more. 6-4-6. 159 for 6 Ireland. With 9 balls to go, the innings has been transformed.
Kind of get the feeling Jimmy Neesham's not enjoying this. Oh dear, clean, standing still, hitting the ball where it's supposed to go in that instance. Got across the stumps, did something funky first ball, got that really good, and then just hitting the ball where it's supposed to go. The bowler's missing.
Neesham in again, that's better, back of a length outside the off stump, tries to run down to third and misses it. So if he was aiming for the Yorker there, Jimmy Neesham, he's missed his length by 4 metres. If you follow that through,
he's got mid on and mid off up. So bowling those the 2 previous one, the second ball that went for 4 over long off, over mid off, and then that previous one, the full toss that went over long off, I think he's got mid on and mid off up. So I think he's missed by big margins.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Oh yeah, no, I was going to say he's missed his length by 4 metres, which isn't good enough. That's another dot ball outside the off stump, swish and a miss from Mark Adair. But what an innings, 24 off 8 balls. Curtis Camphor, no less of a glitzy cameo, 18 off 7, and suddenly Ireland, this is a competitive score.
This is stealing back that bit of confidence that your team gets, and that's stealing it back. And these are 2 bowlers that are going to have a part to play, all rounders I should say, but they're going to have a part to play with the ball. Oh, you love scoring runs and then going out and having a bowl.
Neesham in again, short, pulled out towards deep mid wicket. It's not going to be 6 more, is it? What a save from Glenn Phillips. If he has been saved, he's leapt up into the air, fearful that he might land over the rope. He's thrown it back into the field of play, and that looks, the third umpire is going to have a look at it, no doubt, but that looks like the most spectacular saving of 5 runs. Well, I guess we've become used to seeing them, but that was special. If he's got the timing of the jump right and he saved 5 runs, that is sensational.
He slapped it back really hard as well, like he's throwing it back, I should say. That is genius.
How high is he in the air?
He's got some vert. That is some serious hops. You know, what was that Woody Allen movie going way back? Woody Harrelson, white man. He got hops there and genuinely saved 5. Well, they come back for 2 because he threw it back to the 30-yard circle.
I think they just ran 1, didn't they?
He threw it back to the 30-yard circle while he was up in the air over the boundary.
I tell you what, that is right up there. For the sheer height that he's jumped in the air, he's leapt in the air. I mean, he's fully a metre off the ground. Okay, final over starts. Jake Duffy is heaved by Curtis Camphor down towards long on, and they go through just for a single. That was special. from Glenn Phillips. Just have the presence of mind. I know they practice it. I know that, every fielding session ends with these boundary saves.
Tell you what, he's a little bit lucky because there's a drink bottle right there, and he's not missed that drink bottle in terms of in the ribs from that height. He's got a little bit lucky. He hasn't landed on that drink bottle.
I still can't believe the height that he's got.
Wonderful.
He's over a metre in the air. That slapped off the back foot out towards the sweeper on the cover boundary. He won't be able to cut it off. The runs are coming in a flood here. That was a slower ball from Jake Duffy, 117 kilometres an hour. And I have to say, Mark Adair picked it and slapped it.
Mark Adair's with the bat in the T20 series. First T20, 25, second one, 27. And rollicking along here as well. The third ODI, he scored runs. I think he scored 28 as well, and they've all been at a pretty good clip. But this one, Mark Adair, 3 a ball, strike rate of 300.
Fabulous stuff. Short from Duffy, well bowled. He's got it worked because it's the ramp shot from Adair which he's missed, and it's through to the keeper. So it wasn't wide by any means. It's gone through at head height, so a bouncer for the over. It's one thing scoring your runs when your team's 59 for 7 when you come to the crease, which they were. This might be an innings that matters.
Well, this is the others have been in chases that have almost been over. This is posting.
Oh, wow. Oh, and he slogged it again. Well, heaved it baseball style for 6 more. Over long on. What an end this has been to the New Zealand, to the Irish innings. Absolutely fabulous hitting from Mark Adair. It's his 4th 6 and 2 4s.
It's been the baseball All-Stars game this weekend past, and that is All-Star quality from Adair. Backing away to give himself that room to free the arms, and horizontal bats it, clubs it over long on.
11 off this over, 2 balls to go. Good leg stump Yorker, very nicely landed by Jake Duffy, and it's driven powerfully by Adair straight to Darryl Mitchell at extra cover. Could they have run one there? They didn't.
He hit it that hard, I don't think. He's backing away, so it's a long way when you've backed away to hit it to cover. You're a long way deep in your crease. It's a no ball.
It's a no ball.
That's why they didn't run. Oh, my word. This is the third New Zealand no ball. Duffy 2 and Tickner 1 in this innings.
39 runs in 2.4 overs to finish this innings. And there's 2 balls to come. That's a free hit and a swing and a miss from Mark Adair to a bouncer from Jake Duffy. He's furious with himself as Adair. He looks to the square leg umpire for some intervention, but Alex Wharf is having none of it. So it's been the All-Star weekend in the baseball. Home run derby on the Saturday, and then the All-Star game, straight after it. And Mark Adair he's hit some good dingers. Good Yorker again from Duffy, and dug out and squeezed out towards square leg. Actually, it's gone no more than 4 or 5 yards from where he stood in the crease. The batsmen run off the field. They know it's going to be a quick turnaround between innings. Only 10 minutes, and they're both bowlers, and I suspect Mark Adair is probably going to have to open the bowling. But the batters are literally sprinting off the ground. Gloves off, they need to change the shirts. They won't even have time for a rub down, I don't think. And Ireland have finished with 174 for 6. They looked a long way from a target, setting a target
6
like
for
that.
116 they were, and these two taking them to a competitive score. Before this T20 series, this would have been the 3rd highest score on the ground. So they've outdone themselves, and it hasn't been Ireland that have scored the top 2. And so they've scored a lot more runs than they ever have done on this ground, and they've New Zealand have scored more than this in both the 2 games, but this is a big ask for New Zealand with the Irish all-rounders, lower order batters, going to come out with some real confidence. I'm looking forward to the second half. Mark Adair finished 37 not out from 15 balls for a strike rate of over 250, and Curtis Camphor 19 off 8 balls. You can't really ask for much more than that. But you don't really see the Camphor 19 off 8, do you? No. And that's the ridiculous. But the Camphor 19 off 8 is just swamped by the 37 off 15. What an innings by Mark Adair. Clean hitting, little bit of cheeky stuff, which then set him up. The bowler gets the freaks, get a little bit of the shakes, you don't quite get things right, and he's pounced and made it count. There's some filthy bowling figures there, isn't there?
Well, which ones catch your eye?
Duffy, at the top there. His first 2 overs were all right. And then just looking at Santner, he won't be happy. 3 overs, none for 28 in terms of his quality on a pitch that's got a little bit of turn. But Sodhi, again, taking wickets, and this time, very economical. I've been really impressed with Sodhi in these across the ODIs and the T20s.
You were thinking of Daryl Tuffy then, weren't you?
I had Tuffy, yeah. Tuffy came into my head. I played a little bit with Daryl Tuffy, and so it was Duffy. So it was a spoonerism in essence, wasn't it? I got the D and the T, yeah. That's a spoonerism, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
The park arc.
So, I have to say, the plans for a pitch-side interview have gone awry because what's happened is that I don't think any of the New Zealanders fancied having a chat, and the 2 batters who transformed the innings have both sprinted off to change shirts, get ready for the run chase. So the run chase will be coming to you very shortly, live and exclusive, ball by ball here on talkSPORT 2. But right now, it's time for a quick tea break.
Big hitting live ball-by-ball commentary as Ireland take on New Zealand in the 3rd T20 International.
Down to one knee, hoisted up and over and into the crowd for 6.
On talkSPORT 2.
Every day, talkSPORT 2 probes the sharpest minds in the business, bringing you all the big-name news, views and opinions that matter. Plus, talkSPORT 2's official betting partner, 888sport, is on hand with the insight and in-depth analysis you need to crack the big betting puzzles of the day. talkSPORT 2 with 888sport, official betting partner of talkSPORT 2. 888sport, made to challenge, made to debate, made to play. 18 plus, begambleaware.org.
People ask me why I'm always installing Samsung Aircon. Well, take their wind-free range. Its clever tech spreads cool air evenly around the room, keeping you cool without blasting you with icy cold air. What's more, you can control your Samsung Aircon with your smartphone, and you'll even get a 7-year warranty. It's the ideal cooling solution for any home or office.
Search Samsung Aircon to find your cool.
Welcome back to Name That Engine Tune. 2 local garages are 1 question away from earning a place on the Green Flag Network.
Final tune.
Kipford Autos?
Shredded Sunbelt.
Bolton Breakdowns.
That's the sweet sound of a failing alternator.
Bolton Breakdowns takes the Green Flag.
Oh, brilliant!
Only first-rate rescuers get to join our local breakdown network. Only the best get the Green Flag.
Life is complicated. Hastings Direct Car Insurance is simple.
I love you.
Relationships are messy and complex and full on. Hastings Direct Car Insurance is simple.
Turn right.
Finding your way is hard.
Turn around.
But Hastings Direct Car Insurance is simple. Great cover, great price, and a great app that makes insurance that much simpler to get, check, and change. Hastings Direct. Simplicity is the best policy.
Fisherman's Blues with Nigel Bothaway this Sunday morning from 6 on talkSPORT 2.
Welly boots are a preference for the habitual voyeur of what is known as...
It's a bit dicey.
A soggy bum can be avoided if you take a bivvy when you do what is known as...
Happy days indeed.
Got a flask of tea and a big pack of my favourite fish paste sandwiches. Oh, I love a bit of it.
Incredible.
Look at that brown trout biting. You should tighten up your slack line, mate. Use a better fly. Oh, the anglers.
I like this a lot.
So many anglers. They all go rod in hand through their pond line.
Gone worms. Yes, but I'm still going fishing. Fisherman's Blues with me, Nigel Bothaway, this Sunday morning from 6 on talkSPORT 2.
On DAB+, online, via the talkSPORT app, and on your smart speaker.
Big hitting live ball-by-ball commentary as Ireland take on New Zealand in the 3rd T20 International.
That is high! High, but not far enough.
On talkSPORT 2.
Lovely shot. Lovely shot from Paul Sterling. Yo, beauty. What a shot again from Sterling.
Smashed over extra cover now. Soddy has been sterlinged over extra cover for 6. Brutal power.
It's ticked now, and it's plinked down the pitch by Balbernie, and he's caught it mid-on. Bracewell takes the catch, and if I'm being honest, Balbernie's been put out of his misery on that occasion.
Slog sweep from Sterling. He's hit that very high and very long indeed. Good delivery, and Sterling has edged it to the keeper, Dane Cleaver.
It's almost an Anil Kumble style wicket, quicker with that real good top spin, drops, kicks.
Oh, Tucker's trying to swing this into the leg side, has got an outside edge and has been caught at third man. Mitchell goes in, and Delaney has dropped this one onto his stumps. Tried to ride the bounce, tried to guide it to third man and gets himself in a tangle.
Not a good series by Gareth Delaney. He'll be hugely disappointed.
Bowled him, Soddy, with the googly, between bat and pad, and he gives him the gentlest, most polite send-off you'll ever see. Oh, full toss from Jimmy Neesham, which is flicked away by Mark Adair for 6. Another full toss, another launch down the ground, straight back over the bowler's head. 6 more. Oh, and he slogged it again. Well, heaved it baseball style for 6 more. Over long on.
It's been the baseball all-stars game this weekend past, and that is all-star quality.
Ireland have finished with 174 for 6.
And great fun it was too here on talkSPORT 2. Paul Sterling top scoring with 40, but bizarrely, no one will be talking about his innings. Mark Adair and Curtis Camphor down at the bottom end. Numbers 7 and 8 are the men who've really got Ireland all the way. So as I say, Sterling with 40, Mark Adair 37 from 15 balls, 4 sixes and 2 fours. Camphor 19 from 8 with the 6 and 2 fours. And actually, the stat that sort of leaps out at me, the first 10 overs, Ireland was 79 for 2. The second block of 10 in that innings, 95 for 4. So they've definitely got the hammer down. 8.7 and over is 174 for 6. New Zealand will be out shortly to try and chase it down. Kath Dalton, the former Ireland batsman, is with myself, Andrew McGenna, here in the commentary box at the moment. We're still taking that all in. What an innings from Mark Adair.
When you hit more 6s than 4s in an innings, you know you're in form. That was incredible hitting and just fearless cricket. As something a lot of coaches talk about is being fearless and going for your shots, and he certainly did there. And what a wonderful knock. You felt in the middle overs, that 10 over mark, it could have swung either way for Ireland, but Mark Adair made sure that they put a fantastic total on the board, and one that I feel is going to be very competitive.
79 for 2, 81 for 3, 92 for 4, 108 for 5, 116 for 6. I try and be a glass half full person rather than a glass half empty person, but if I'm in the New Zealand dressing room, I think the question, what the hell just went on there, lads, probably is being asked, isn't it? Because you should be chasing 130 to win this game, and thank you very much, we'll just gently tip and run, and we'll finish this one 3.5, thank you very much. Wouldn't they?
You'd think. They hit the panic stations. It did look like they lost their game plan when Mark Adair started to go at them. There wasn't a real clear game plan on what to bowl to him and how to bowl. With Dockrell, if we take him for example, they saw he was making room, they followed him, they knew exactly how to prevent him scoring runs. Mark Adair, they just didn't have an answer to. And I think we're going to be in for a very, very exciting second half of this innings.
One thing we did see was there was some pace and bounce and carry in the wicket, just hitting that slightly back of the length from the New Zealanders. Have Ireland got the bowlers to exploit that? And Josh Little has been good in this series. He's taken wickets, but he's not quite that jam it in length, is he?
I know exactly what you're saying. Like, hit the pitch length. Somebody like Alex Tudor, if I can quote him from a while ago.
Of course.
Somebody who hit the pinch, hit the hard length, made it very difficult for the batters. And New Zealand very quickly went to cross-seam deliveries, not seam-up deliveries, which surprised me. But it looked like they were trying to bowl quite wide of off-stump and got the Ireland batters to play and miss a huge amount. But that should Ireland bowlers should take heart in that and think, okay, that was successful for them. Is there anything we can learn? And I'm sure the analyst who's been busy typing away on his laptop has looked at that and got the message out there.
We are halfway stage of this game. They're not a million miles off, by the way, the halfway stage in the one-day international at Old Trafford, which, bearing in mind they didn't start till about 4 o'clock-ish, might well have you wondering. England are 72 for 5 in the 12th over of their innings. It's 29 aside, and England are 72 for 5 at the moment. Jason Roy 14, Johnny Bairstow 28, Phil Salt 17, Joe Root a single, Moeen Ali for 6 are the men to be dismissed. Joss Butler is 4 not out. Liam Livingstone has just come to the crease at number 7 and has faced 2 deliveries, is yet to get off the mark. Dwayne Pretorius 3 for 14 for South Africa. Anrek Nortje has just taken his first, 1 for 13. Keshav Maharaj 1 for 15 is the man with the other wicket. So they're not a million miles off the same sort of stage as we are in this game, but bearing in mind that's supposed to be significantly longer. England appear to have a few issues at the moment, working things out. Of course, that'll be one of the things they'll talk about on the Cricket Collective this week on talkSPORT 2, our dedicated cricket show. Tuesday evening, Manners is back. Oh yeah, we get our money's worth out of Manners. He's back with Harmy every Tuesday. You can hear the Cricket Collective. If you don't hear it when it goes out on talkSPORT 2, well then you download it as a podcast. You go to the following on feed and you'll find it. All good podcast providers, and probably some rubbish ones as well, but you'll be able to find it wherever you want and get yourself a dose of all the latest cricket news. Are they going to be talking about a T20 series between Ireland and New Zealand, which New Zealand win, but will it be 3-0 or 2-1? The batsmen are on their way. Kath, are Ireland going to hold their nerve, or are New Zealand going to chase this down?
Ireland are going to hold their nerve.
Hey, Gaff, nicely done.
I'm being positive. I'm being very positive. I've tried to be positive, Andrew, for the whole of this series and been massively unsuccessful so far. So, but I've just got a good feeling about this one for Ireland.
Well, Finn Allen is on the way, along with Martin Guptill, and the innings will be underway. Kath, thank you very much for the time being. Ian O'Brien is going to move into the summariser's seat for the first 5 overs of the reply.
Evening, everyone. Evening, Mr. McKenna.
Mark Adair has ball in hand, and quite frankly, why wouldn't you after what we've just seen from him? He must be riding a confidence wave the size of which you've never seen before.
I didn't have a lot of success with the bat, but there's a couple of times where you get a couple of shots away at the end, and it's worked for me and against me about as many times. You get a little bit greedy because the confidence is high, and so you think you can do everything, versus everything just clicks and falls into place, and everything that you try, you nail it. And so, very good opening partnership for New Zealand. Martin Guptill in terms of experience, and Finn Allen, the explosive and the brilliance on the best batting surface of the T20 series. Game on.
Well, absolutely. Here we go then on talkSPORT 2. 175's the target, and Adair is going to go in, and it's straight in. Yorker length. Martin Guptill playing out on the offside no run.
That's how they've got Guptill out already. I think it was the first T20. They went Yorker first up. Guptill played all around it. I like seeing repeats. I like seeing bowlers memories, plans, and I like seeing them being executed very well there from Mark Adair. Just Guptill was on top of that one this time.
Can he repeat? Does he want to repeat? Do you want to be predictable in this form of the game? Slip waiting as Adair goes in. Right arm over. Little bit leg side-ish. Guptill turns it to mid-wicket. McCarthy comes around from mid-on. Will actually leave it on that occasion, because the man coming off the boundary, Andy McBride, is in a better position. So New Zealand underway with a single, one without loss.
It's a good point you made, and he went length onto the sort of the hip pocket. I was like, yeah, I'd go again. I'd go another Yorker, because you're not expecting it, and if you slip it past like you did in the earlier in the series, I might have gone another Yorker. He had it on a string. That first Yorker nailed it. Had it on a string, and so interesting.
Now then, Finn Allen, 23 years of age, facing Adair. Oh, he's taken on the pad, looking to play this into the leg side. Think it was drifting down. Umpire says not out. And Adair walks up to the non-striker's end, and there's just a bit of a conversation. But going down that one.
Yeah, just angled it into Finn Allen's pads. Just that slight bit of shape into the right-hander, which meant it's missed the blade of the batter and into about the knee roll.
They took a leg by and a single, so Martin Guptill gets the next ball and has clonked this one back over the bowler's head. He's actually got it high rather than long. It's been flicked back by the fielder at long off. Now, did that get flicked back onto the fielder's cap on the outfield? Oh, it was very close. I think the third umpire is going to have a look, Paul Reynolds anyway, to just check the initial. Now, first of all, Martin Guptill thought that was a boundary.
Oh, he thought that was long. He thought that he got that a long, long way. He'd stayed down and he just held the pose. And it's pitching wedged and pulled up 4 inches short of the pin boundary rope, if you like.
So Texer gets round and fields it, flicks it back in, and then flicks it back onto his own cap.
Yeah, that's awkward. It didn't affect like a helmet does behind the keeper. It didn't affect the play, and it's not deliberate, so it shouldn't cost penalty if my interpretation of laws and playing conditions are reasonably up to date.
Well, the scoreboard says 4 without loss, and Martin Guptill has 3 of them. 3 from 3.
Okay, well, I'm up to date then on that one.
That's a win for everyone. In goes Adair once again. Oh, that's a Jaffa. Slightly back of a good length, and Guptill is trying to play it off the back foot, beaten on the outside edge, through to the keeper, no run. There was a bit of shape and bounce.
Yeah, there was something I was supposed to mention on the previous ball where Guptill launched it, lobbed it back over the bowler's head, was that Mark Adair went really wide. And that was a strategy, it was a style that they went to in both the first two, or the last ODI and then early in this T20. So again, they're going over and they're making sure that they use the plans that they've got in place. Wide again.
Wide of the crease again, angling into Guptill, cramping him up. He's on the back foot. Plays it back to the bowler. End of the over here on talkSPORT 2. New Zealand 4 without loss. They're trying to make 175 to win this game.
Nice over. Nice over. Well bowled from Adair on a high. And there's an element where, as a New Zealand opening batter, you go, well, cool. We'll well bowled. We're here. And we'll see you when you come back around again. And yeah, lovely over. Some real good patterns of the second ball where he went from Yorker to the pocket. Yeah, for me, I might have gone another Yorker, but some really nice patterns and some really nice use of variations without bowling change-ups. So the variation of on the crease and the variation of Yorker and then pocket length. So really good from Adair, and New Zealand got through it. Finn Allen and Martin Guptill got through it, and I think you say good cricket all round.
Craig Young is going to get the second over, the man born in Londonderry, and he's 2 wickets in the series so far, both of them in the second game, 2 for 34, 0 for 18 in the first, and here he comes, right arm over. Finn Allen in behind this one, pushing out on the offside. Dockrell will field no run. Finn Allen, of course, a young man who he plays modern cricket, really, doesn't he? Strike rate of 176 in 8 T20 internationals.
Yeah, it's like a career strike rate. I mean, 8 T20s is not a lot, but that's ridiculous. Yeah.
Well, he's been at Yorkshire with the Blast, and I did have a quiet word with Goughy a few days ago about him, and he says he hits it as hard as anyone I've seen. Young goes in. Oh, down the wicket is Finn Allen. He's swinging to the leg side. Inside edge. Adair is inside the circle at fine leg. beats him all ends up, and it'll go away for a boundary. Allen's first, New Zealand 8 without loss.
Yeah, a 360-degree player inside hedge down past the fine leg. Yeah, not the cleanest of things, but the head still, the body's in a good position, and you take your luck when you get it. I was back home coaching with the Wellington Firebirds, who Finn Allen's been playing for, and I might have bowled a couple of net overs to him and stood around and umpired for the other bowlers. Oh, he does hit it hard.
Young goes in, Finn Allen goes across his stumps and plays the ramp that clears the sight screen and the construction for the TV cameras and goes all the way for 6. That's a ridiculous shot.
If you do that, it's supposed to land just over the cushion, the boundary cushion, in front of the hoardings, in front of the advertising hoardings. It's not supposed to go over the scaffold sight screen and gantry for the cameras. That's timing. You'll hear people say, he's picked up pace. There's no way that's picked up pace. It's just the launch angle, because friction says that conservation of energy. Yeah, there's sound and heat. But he has got that such a good launch angle and such good timing.
Well, we got through a fair few balls in the Netherlands-England series.
That is a small ground, and they don't come back from that one, do they?
No, we got through a few, that one. If Finn Allen's going to play this way, we might lose a few more this afternoon. That is a remarkable shot.
They'll be playing with white kookaburras, and if I'm not mistaken, they're 160 New Zealand brand new, so that's 82 pounds brand new. So that's an 82 pound loss already. Like, it's a lot of money when you start adding up. It's not quite like baseball with one ball for almost every event.
Right, well, they've got a new one, and they've chucked it over to Craig Young. Here we go then, 4th ball of the over, 0-4-6 so far. In he goes, right arm over. That's a decent one, and Finn Allen is taking one that probably would have been around about middle and leg stumpish, and was looking leg side, got it squared up, ends up playing it back to the bowler, no run.
But I really like what Finn Allen did there. He's put the pressure on the bowler and then asked the bowler to come back. And as a bowler, when the pressure's on you, you often miss. And we saw the New Zealand bowlers do that towards the end of their bowling innings, the Irish batting innings. The pressure was on them and they missed. Allen respected that.
Young in. Allen down the pitch and hammers it past mid-off for 4. Mid-off. Got the full Superman dive out and still didn't even get within a sniff of it. That was absolutely travelling like a laser. They say the delivery was 138 kilometres an hour. I'd love to know the speed off the bat, because that was travelling.
Yeah, that outspeed is significant. It had no respect. I just said previous ball, good respect. The bowler came back well, and Finn Allen showed him good respect. Nothing. Like, that is dismissive as it can get from a batter to a bowler without without saying anything.
That was savage. Wow. Final ball of the over. Oh, ball's in! Absolute beauty! And he finds the loose ball as it's ricocheting around and boots it away to the outfield. Young has the breakthrough. New Zealand 18 for 1. And Finn Allen is bowled with a Yorker base of off stump. Try hitting that one to the boundary, he's saying. The bowler, you can't. Brilliant. And Ireland have their wicket.
Absolutely brilliant. Wonderful over. Just in terms of cricket, in terms of the events, every single ball in that over was wonderful. And to come back as the bowler, having just been slammed for one of the hardest hit fours I've seen for a wee while. Hit the base of the stumps. He controlled his emotions very well there in his celebrations, because as a bowler, I recognised a little bit of the body language that was about to happen, and he reined it back in. There was no send-off. It looked like there was going to be a little catch later, which is, in those scenarios, I got no problems with, because that is emotional. That is a big thing for a bowler, having been hit for a 6 and a 4 like that. Well done. His name's just gone again. Craig Young. Well done, Craig Young, for just A, executing that Yorker, and B, just been able to hold on to your emotions.
Let's just wind it back though. First ball of the innings, perfect Yorker. That one, perfect Yorker. It goes back to the debate we were just having about how often should you bowl it. Well, if you can execute them like that, I would say more than 2 in 12 deliveries maybe should be the ratio.
And I actually think Yorkers to Finn Allen are not bad options. He hits, if he can get anything underneath it, he's dangerous.
First ball of the third over is from Mark Adair to Martin Guptill, pushing back down the pitch, no run. The new man, Dane Cleaver. 5 in the first game from 7 balls, and then 78 not out from 55 in the second.
I think he was 10 off 15 in that innings, at the start of that innings, and looked horrible. Absolutely two different batsmen. Played some gorgeous shots, but then there was just in between the gorgeous shots, he was a bowler trying to hold a bat, and then later on he sort of got the timing of the pitch.
Adair to Guptill. Hey! Guptill down the pitch, slams him back over his head. Plenty of hang time on that one, and that's a sixer as well. Guptill goes to 9 from 7. I think fortunately that one actually ricocheted back off the tree. Might not be that hard to find, but that's a clean strike from Martin Guptill. New Zealand 24 for 1.
The branches aren't that thick at that height of the tree. so well, that is clean. Guptill, little shimmy, half a step and a shimmy. And he loves half volleys. He loves missing. When the bowler just misses that Yorker, he sits underneath it, hits it high as well as far. That one's clean. And that gets Martin Guptill back in front of the runs and balls. Slightly behind. And I was about to say I don't like bowling Mark Adair here in this over. Guptill saw a lot of him in the first over, which means Guptill knows him, has got his pace, will feel comfortable facing him, and 2 balls in, and he's been dealt with. I don't like bowlers bowling 2 overs in a row when you've bowled the majority of your balls to the guy that's in, and you're going to come back and bowl to him.
Well, in goes Adair, just cramps up Guptill, drops it into the offside. 3 fielders plus the bowler converge on that one. Paul Sterling is the man who wins the race to the ball, and they will take a single on that one.
So I don't like it, but I understand that Ireland are asking Guptill to hit him and make a mistake. They want Guptill to take him on, and they want Guptill to make a mistake, and he has made mistakes right the way through the series, through the three ODIs. He's made mistakes with the bat. He's got away with a few, but they're asking Guptill to make a mistake and Adair find a way to sneak a second wicket inside the power play.
Slip in place for Cleaver, who gets an inside edge to a place Richie Benaud once described as just between the knee rolls, as he gets hit there. And welcome to the crease. Moving swiftly on.
That's cut him in half.
Yeah. Shall we get the obligatory contractual obligation mentioned that Dane Cleaver is Kane Williamson's cousin out the way early on in today's commentary?
Right. And batting in Kane Williamson's batting position as well. So there's when Williamson is back fit and playing, and if Cleaver keeps. If he repeats the success that he did in the previous game, that's just wonderful for New Zealanders. The problems that you want as a coach and as a selector. Son's name was, what was his? Oh, I've forgotten his son's name because his wife and his son are at the ground. That was them. That was right. Just on screen at that time.
Adair goes in. Cleaver gets the wood on this one and plays it back down the pitch. No run. 25 for 1. Final ball of the third over about to go down. If you've been with us throughout the summer, actually, when we did the Netherlands games,
George was the name.
You'll have heard us mention the fact that Tim Pringle switched from New Zealand to the Netherlands, and he played in a game for a New Zealand 11 against the Netherlands back in March. Did Dane Cleaver.
Oh.
Dane Cleaver was actually playing in that game as well. So short ball dug in by Adair. Well, Cleaver's managed to get that pass backward point. He's done really well to get bat on that. He's almost off the ground as he tries to carve it out to the sweeper. They're going to take 3. Wow, that's really good running as Young tries to pull that back in.
Is that the first 3 of the series?
I can't imagine there's been many in this.
There's not been many 3s in this series at all. The grounds are not straight and square, not great. Yeah, if you can hit those 45 degrees, there's a little bit there.
28 for 1 here on talkSPORT 2 New Zealand. 175 the target. 3 overs into their 20. Finn Allen, the man to go. 14 from 7. Guptill's 10 from 8. Cleaver 3 from 3 runnable. Phillips, Mitchell, Neesham, Bracewell, Santner, Sodhi, Tickner and Duffy, the man available for New Zealand.
We've both done similar homework, Andrew, haven't we? We've both done a little bit on the couple of the guys that hadn't played in this series. And, with the Rippon, who's played for the Netherlands and played against New Zealand just recently. And then, 3 months later was playing for New Zealand. Didn't get a chance here. And then Chapman as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of movement in international cricket at the moment. Young will start the new over. Coming forward is Cleaver. Just a bit of push and run into the offside. Will take the single to take it to 29 for 1.
You can go up a grade, but you can't come back down, basically. And that's Chapman's gone from Hong Kong to New Zealand, as Rippon's gone from Netherlands to New Zealand. And who was it went from New Zealand to the Netherlands? But it was only a domestic player that you were just talking about just then.
Tim Pringle,
yeah. So went from domestic up to, and he can still come back and play for New Zealand, which is...
this one is Guptill moving a little bit leg side-ish, plays up towards mid-on, be fielded by Dockrell, who cuts it off from there, and it remains 29 for 1. Don't forget more live sport coming your way this evening as the darts continues. The World Match Play in Blackpool. Boys will be here once we're done and dusted with this game. Where are we? Just gone 6 o'clock this Friday evening. Nice way to get your weekend underway. Live sport, but a biff and bash of T20. Now Guptill's gone across his stumps here, flicked into the leg side, and just clears Dockrell running back at mid-wicket. Wasn't hit hard enough for the man who's on the boundary to run in and take it, so it had to be a fielder in the infield running back out, and Guptill just got enough on that 30 for 1.
That's not Martin Guptill. You see, you get to know about it and how they play their shots and what they do. That is not one of Martin Guptill's shots. He does not walk across the stumps and just flick it onto the leg side, hoping to get it behind square or over short fine leg. That is not one of his shots. That concerns me.
It's hit straight by Cleaver on this occasion. Young, in his follow-through, gets a handout. Will take some of the pace off of it. And it will be fielded at mid-on. Single taken, 31 for 1.
Yeah, the right thumb. Cleaver's hit that pretty crisply back at the bowler, and the thumb in his bowling hand so his right thumb is taking the brunt of that, and it won't stop him from bowling, but it does just stop you being able to hold the ball how you want to in your hand. It never swells up. It doesn't really. The thumb, it just hurts the thumb basically. One of your first 2 fingers, your pointer and your middle finger, something happens to those 2, a little bit, but your thumb, it's a big fat bone.
I'll say fortunately, it just sort of sits underneath the ball to support anyway. So the bigger it's swelled up, actually, you could argue it might be more of a help. Young is in, and Guptill is carving this one over third for 6. Leant back and carved it, and it landed, I think, about a foot over the boundary marker for a 6. They are just going to double check it, but Guptill cleared the front leg and then swung with the open blade, and it lands definitely over the line.
That's a big miss from the bowler though. Short, so third man up, fine leg up, short and wide. That's a massive miss. You have that fielder's for a full slow ball or a leg stump crooked delivery, and big miss, and Guptill cashes in.
Paul Reynolds is still looking at this.
Yeah, just rock and roll it.
Now we've got the zoom in.
It's clearly over because you see the ball disappear behind the rope when it bounces.
I can only assume he's getting paid per minute of screen time today.
Well, maybe it's some of the hoardings, the advertising hoardings. The ball disappears behind the rope, clearly clears the... Oh, my word.
They're still looking, so while they're doing that, I'll tell you England are now 101 for 6 against South Africa. Joss Butler, the latest man out. Shamsi bowled, caught Pretorius. He went for 19, so England in all sorts of trouble. Young to continue. That's more like Martin Guptill. He's put the front foot down and just slapped him back over his head for 4. And...
timing.
No real timing, but got the follow through. End of 4 overs. 41 for 1 New Zealand here on talkSPORT 2. Gupton's got 21 from 12, Cleaver 5 from 5.
That was the ball that should have been bowled, the previous ball. With fine leg up and third man up, you're allowed to bowl a little bit fuller and you're allowed to bowl up towards a little bit slower and towards leg stump. He had mid-on up, so long on was up inside the circle and it was a slow ball, which means that you're going to hit it slightly leg side if you do miscue it. So long on needs to be back, and long on is up, and all he had to do was clear mid on.
How much of these things are now turning into double bluffs? If you like, in the fact as a bowler, you've just said
as a bouncer option, yes, bring up fine leg, bring up square leg, and still bowl the bouncer. As a double bluff with the bouncer, yes, but when you got a guy like Martin Guptill whose head stays so still, then you can't double bluff with having him the opportunity to hit straight. So I absolutely agree, but not in that way.
Josh Little to bowl the 5th over, starts with a short ball, and Cleaver hits it straight down the fielder on the mid-wicket fence's throat. Catch taken. Cleaver goes for 5 from 6. And that is one of the most straightforward catches you will see, and Cleaver is going to have to be dragged from the outfield. Now that is bowling to your field, if that's the plan. Camphor is there on the mid-wicket fence. It's been dug in by Little. He's bowled 1 ball, got a wicket.
Oh, Camphor talisman. The New Zealand just haven't found a way to control and keep Camphor out of the game. Is that an action replay of the first T20? Cleaver getting a short ball and depositing it straight to the fielder on the boundary, if my memory, and Kath's nodding her head too. So I am almost certain that is exactly how Cleaver was out in the first T20 of the series, and exactly the same circumstances. Simple catch, comfortably taken. But New Zealand 10 and over. So that they've got the time to regroup. They have given themselves that little bit of a head start, and they can. Phillips is hasn't been a particularly quick starter, so he can sit in for a little bit, get comfy.
Yeah. Well, Kane Williamson wouldn't have played that shot, but Kane Williamson ain't in the side, so it doesn't matter. Right then, Glenn Phillips, the man born in East London, South Africa, takes guard. It's his 38th T20 international. Averages just under 26 with the bat. Strike rate 140. Gets on with it. Of course, was playing with Gloucestershire in the Vitality Blast. And in comes Little, left arm over for his second delivery, and that one is a straight across the right-hander and goes through to the keeper, no run. Phillips has nothing to do with that one, no interest whatsoever. Just playing the angle on it. It's sort of a test match angle. It's sort of left arm over, bowling to first slip. Sort of that kind of angle, really.
Yeah, we've both got our memories wrong, Kath, but he wasn't out like that in the first game, but someone was exactly like that in the first game. I'm just trying to work it out.
Phillips waits for Little. He's on his way, past the umpire, in it goes, back foot is Phillips, punching out to the point sweeper. It will be just a single, so he's up and underway. 42 for 2 New Zealand, halfway through the 5th. Still to come, Daryl Mitchell, Jimmy Neesham, Michael Bracewell, Mitch Santner, the skipper. He can hold a bat. And that's before you get to Ish Sodhi at 9, Blair Tickner at 10 and Jacob Duffy 11.
I wonder what the capacity here is, because there's a few in, but it's just not as many as you'd think.
No, there might be a few more on the way in after work when they've heard the score. This one is turned out on the leg side for a single by Martin Guptill. 22 from 13, 43 for 2. Stormont, the venue for the third of these T20 internationals. Of course, Ireland taking on South Africa. T20 games. A couple of those being played in Bristol.
They got Afghanistan in August, I think it was. Ireland. So wonderful summer of cricket for Ireland.
Great calendar, isn't it? Great calendar to really test them out.
And the Netherlands.
In goes a little bit of shape back in on that one. And it's played with no real timing into the onside by Phillips. And there's one ball left in this fifth over, 43 for 2.
There was genuine feet in concrete hands moving, trying to hit that through the offside. All hands, and with no timing. Just a lull on the fall of that wicket, and the air gets taken out of the atmosphere. The crowd they were enjoying the hitting, because you could hear the murmur was just a little bit higher, but it's sort of just been turned back down again.
Final ball of his first over then. Little 1 for 2 so far. And again, it's on the back foot, forcing Phillips backwards, punching out square on the offside. It will be just a single. So 5 overs gone. 44 for 2 is the scoreline. After 5 overs, Ireland were 33 for 1. But as I mentioned earlier, they put 79 for 2 in the first 10 overs of their innings. They were 95 for 4 in the second 10 of that innings. So that's where the acceleration came from. Some more thoughts from Ian O'Brien, and then we'll both be getting out of the way as Kath Dalton and Neil Manthorpe will pick up commentary.
Really love watching Little Bowl. Just all energy, all arms and legs and effort left, and he just always creates something. And there's not that much of him. He's not the tallest guy, but he's always doing just that little bit extra. Love watching him bowl.
Very much, Ian O'Brien. Well, there's an old saying in our profession, commentators and writers, that when you go on tour, it's not how you start that matters, it's how you finish. That's the lasting impression. And for Ireland, who could have, and they would say probably should have, won the ODI series. Now Barry McCarthy's into the attack. First delivery is steered away down towards third. It will be cut off by Curtis Camphor, but they'll go through for 2 runs. They've had their chances. On tour, they're 5-0 down, and that does not reflect the way that they have competed. There's only been one-sided game, and that was in the last match, when they were bowled out for 91. But if they can finish the tour on a high with a victory, then they'll pack themselves off to Australia. Actually, no, their home season's not finished yet. That's short and pulled. Good looking shot from Glenn Phillips, straight out towards deep square leg. They've got some more cricket. They've got 2 home games, 2 T20 internationals against South Africa, but they're going to borrow the county ground in Bristol in order to play those games. I haven't been able to get to the bottom of that, Kath Dalton. Have you?
I haven't, Manners.
Beginning of
August.
August.
Me questions that I don't know the answers to.
Well, it's only because I don't know the answers as well. Anyway, 6th over. Here's Barry McCarthy once again up to the crease now. Bowls. That's hit the pad. Caught behind by Lorcan Tucker, and it's just ever such a polite appeal from the keeper and the bowler, but it was pretty obvious immediately that it came off the pad.
Yeah, most certainly came off the pad there. I don't know why Barry McCarthy was still running down the wicket, trying to make it sound like he had got a nick on this. Yeah, off the pad.
Anyway, New Zealand will be one of the favoured teams, as they always are. They'll be amongst the favoured teams at the T20 World Cup in Australia in October and November, and Ireland will be there. They'll be in the first round with 7 other teams, including Zimbabwe, West Indies, and Sri Lanka. So that's going to be a tough qualifying group with 4 Test-playing nations, if you include Ireland, also the Netherlands, and there's another single tucked off the pads out towards deep backward square leg. So Ireland will have something to show from the quality of cricket that they've played throughout this series against New Zealand if they have a victory on the board. And as I said, the final impression is the one that lasts. They can win the last game. That's full and 2 straight. It's a little bit leg side, turned out towards George Dockrell at mid-wicket, and again it's an easy single. Guptill moves to 23 off 15. Glenn Phillips has 6 off 7. In New Zealand requiring 175 to win. 49 for 2. Nothing wrong at all with the scoring rate at this stage inside the power play.
No, they're up with the rate, obviously, and with lots of wickets in hand as well. And Guptill hasn't really got going. We haven't seen him in his most fluent form yet this series, so if he can get going, it could be very destructive for Ireland.
Here's McCarthy once again. That's down the leg side and flicks the batsman's thigh pad, and I think Lorcan Tucker got a glove to it, diving to his left. Leg byes confirmed by umpire Alex Worf. So the power play is complete. New Zealand 53 for 2. Got plenty of batting to come, as Kath Dalton just said, with Daryl Mitchell in next and fellow all-rounder Jimmy Neesham. Actually, there's 4 all-rounders to come next. Daryl Mitchell, Jimmy Neesham, Michael Bracewell and Mitch Santner, followed by the bowlers Ish Sodhi, Jacob Duffy and Blair Tickner. 53 for 2.
I'm actually really impressed with Barry McCarthy there, because his last spell in the last T20 International was not a good one, and one that he would quite happily forget. So he started off with a decent over there and much better economy rate in that over, so I think he'll be pleased with that. He did bowl quite a few cross-seam deliveries, a few slow balls in that over. He just looked a little bit more clear and a little bit more confident in what he was doing in his game plan.
Curtis Camphor, small in stature, big in heart, big in performance as well, comes into the attack for the next over, the 7th. And his first delivery's edge, thick edge, beats short third inside the circle, Craig Young, and deflects away to the boundary. That's actually a perfectly good delivery. Gone for 4.
Wonderful delivery by Curtis Camphor. Very unlucky. Really good seam position. We saw not a lot of Ireland batters use their feet in the first innings and managed to get away with it, and exactly what Phillips has done there. He's got away with that one, but well bowled by Curtis Camphor. He's always in the game, isn't he? He's always doing something, Curtis Camphor.
Opportune time for me to repeat the story, which I've told half a dozen times, but for the benefit of listeners who haven't heard it, Curtis Camphor in once again, bowls the same ball, and a similar shot from Glenn Phillips. This time he misses it, and he grins, because it did move away. This time too much, beat the outside edge. So there he was, playing in a warm-up game against the Irish in Potchefstroom before the 2019 World Cup. And, Ireland were on a pre-World Cup tour of South Africa, and Curtis Camphor was putting in a very decent all-round performance with bat and ball. Here he is once more, and well, there's an appeal for leg before it nips back, and suddenly Curtis Camphor's getting it to do everything. Anyway, it was the last days of which O'Neill was it? Was it Kevin O'Neill? Niall O'Brien, I beg your pardon. Niall O'Brien it was. He was captaining, and Curtis Camphor said, he said, if you like what you see, I've got an Irish mother. I qualify. Short, pulled out towards deep square leg. Bounces towards George Dockrell, and he fields, sends the throw in. And sure enough, the wheels are put in motion, and before you knew it, he'd packed a couple of suitcases and decamped to Dublin, and playing for Ireland. Been there ever since.
That's a wonderful story, man. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
I thought we were on air a couple of games ago when I told it. for the first time. Short, pulled out towards deep square leg. Curtis Camphor in, and tucked away off the pads out towards Dockrell again, and they're through for a single. So yeah, I mean, he realised that he probably wasn't going to progress. Well, I don't know if he thought he wouldn't progress to the South African national team, but certainly he saw a way to get to international cricket a little bit quicker. And as I said, he's put the performances in consistently with both bat and ball. 59 for 2, New Zealand, needing 175 to win. Last ball of the overs, little too straight, and clipped away down to Barry McCarthy at fine leg, and they're through for a single. 7 overs gone, 60 for 2.
I don't know anybody else who would use their Irish heritage in such a way.
So who did you let know, Kath Dalton? Your dad's Irish, isn't he? That's where you got the Irish blood from.
Dad, yeah, he's got an Irish passport, but no, was born here, but yeah, grandparents born in Ireland, so.
Ancestral visa.
There you go.
That's all you need.
Yeah, easy to travel around Europe now as well.
Yeah. You got both passports, or?
I have. I used to fly into Dublin on my Irish one and fly home on my British one, so.
Shorter queues.
I used to get welcomed home at both ends, which was quite fun.
Excellent. Ireland at the similar stage were 50 for 1. New Zealand are 60 for 2, so not much in it. George Dockrell, in his 98th match, comes in for his first over. Good to see him back bowling semi-regularly at least. Became a batter solely for an extensive period of time. Hardly bowled for a year or so, but he's back now with his left arm spinners, and that one is slapped out to cover, and a dive from Martin Guptill, as I think he actually called for the single, I think, and it was tight, but Lorcan Tucker failed to take the throw cleanly, and Martin Guptill was struggling there. If Lorcan Tucker had taken the throw cleanly and whipped the bails off, I'm not so sure Guptill would have made his ground. Would have been touch and go.
Yeah, it wasn't a great throw either, actually. Going too much to Tucker's right hand side maybe would have taken too long to come back in its stumps.
Dockrell in, clipped out towards mid-wicket, through for a single.
This is a key part, Manners, isn't it? Dockrell on, spinners on. I wonder if we will see Gareth Delaney get a bowl with his leg spin today. Because we didn't see him in the last T20 international. He hasn't had a good time with the bat either, so I wonder what's been happening with him and his confidence.
Dockrell in once again. Short, just short. No, not very short. Oh, and dropped at deep mid-wicket. It wasn't really short enough for the pull, and I think that's the reason that it was Harry Tector who put it down as well. That's the reason that Martin Guptill, Glenn Phillips was a little bit tucked up with the pull shot, and Tector, well, he had it covered. I have to say, he was taking it about chest height on the run, got both hands to it. It really was pre-regulation catch. Slower ball from Dockrell, driven down the ground to long off and dropped again. 2 drops, this time Barry McCarthy. Phillips dropped in consecutive deliveries, and he's taken 2 on both occasions.
Oh, that is shocking. Absolutely shocking. 2 catches that should have been taken. These guys are international cricketers. That is an absolute dolly to Barry McCarthy. I'm shocked he's not taken that.
He ran just 1 rather than 2. We're into the 8th over. And New Zealand are 65 for 2. And they're being handed gifts here. Top edge, the 3rd catch. This one will be taken surely. Josh Little. Sweep shot from Martin Guptill, top edge, and Dockrell, having had 2 catches dropped in consecutive deliveries, picks up a wicket with the 3rd delivery, the 5th of the 8th over, and Martin Guptill goes, and New Zealand might just be experiencing a little bit of a wobble now. Nothing wrong with the runs, but that's 3rd wicket down. Dockrell deserved that.
Dockrell would have had a hat-trick if his teammates could catch. Also, I'll enjoy Josh Little just looking around at his teammates going, thank goodness I caught that one.
That's how you do it, lads.
Yeah. That's how you catch everybody.
Martin Guptill on his way for 25. Again, it was just he couldn't get into the conventional sweep position. It was a little too full. I always do say sweep on length rather than line, and it was a little too full for the shot, and that's why he top edged it. So Daryl Mitchell comes to the crease now with the score on 65 for 3 at the end of the 8th over. The target for New Zealand is 175, so they need another 110 from the remaining 12 overs after this.
Yeah, it won't be easy going either for these New Zealand batters. You can see that they're struggling. Phillips dropped on 15 in that over. Daryl Mitchell new to the crease. This is the time that you might put a slip in. You just want to capitalise it a bit. Put a bit of pressure on these New Zealand players. Another wicket here. I think Ireland will be the ascendancy.
So does Cricket Ireland have a small research department where they scour the world for Irish descendants who are putting in the performances in domestic cricket around the world, or do you have to contact them? That's a single tucked away off the pads down towards short fine leg and
yes,
through for a single.
I was contacted. No, I contacted them. I'd love to say they were scouring the world to find me manners, but they certainly weren't.
Well, if you don't promote yourself in this world, then you can't expect anyone else to necessarily promote you. So good on you.
Thanks, manners.
You just dropped them a little email, did you, or did you call someone up, or am I delving too deeply into the process here?
To be fair, I had 2 years on the England Academy, and I'd actually toured South Africa to Poch, which wasn't too exciting. But
yeah, look, there's a different thing. Touring South Africa is not the same as touring Potchefstroom.
Do you know that's the only place I've been? Is Poch.
Curtis Camphor begins a new over, and the first delivery is tucked away out in the mid-wicket region, and Camphor, ever the enthusiast, scampers after it to do the fielding off his own bowling, get through for a single.
Yeah, so my experience of South Africa is slightly different to those who've been to Cape Town. But no, yeah, I'd done 2 years on there and realised I wasn't really going to break in to the England team, and yeah, just had a chat with a couple of coaches and thought, why not? Let's go for it. So made the move across to Ireland, and very glad I did.
And Irish cricket, certainly judging from this summer, which is their highest profile season, both in the men's and women's game, look, it's not without its problems, for sure. Next delivery is, again, just tucked away onto the onside, but no run. Daryl Mitchell remains on 2. Glenn Phillips has 17. 107 more needed from 70 balls. But yes, there are problems with funding and facilities, and here is Camphor, and that's a thick outside edge down to third man, Craig Young fields. Again, they just scamper through for a single. But I'm right in saying, Kath, that there are more locally born and produced players in the men's and women's team than ever before. So, I mean, that's got to be a good sign. Not that that using assets from elsewhere is a bad thing. That's clipped out towards mid-on, down to the fielder, Mark Adair, and they again trot through for a single. I mean, Netherlands cricket, Irish cricket, Scottish cricket, they pride themselves on the cosmopolitan nature of their setup, but it certainly helps if you have a strong club competition and you are producing players yourself.
It really does, and you've got to promote your homegrown talent. Obviously, I wasn't one of those, but yeah, it's great to see that there's been more funding certainly pushed into Irish cricket over the last year or so.
Camphor in again, short, pulled, bottom edge, down towards fine leg, and it beats the fielder in there. That's 4 runs. Well, it wasn't quite as Daryl Mitchell intended. I'm not sure that he was trying to hit it that fine. It was more of a bottom edge, but it's 4 runs nonetheless, and New Zealand moved to 74 for 301 more required.
Camphor just getting his line wrong there. It has actually jagged back quite a lot, probably more than he was expecting, but well played by Mitchell, just got enough of it.
11 overs to go after this, 101 more required for victory, and that one is clipped firmly by Mitchell. down towards Markader at long on once more, and it's just a single. So 9 overs gone. Third and final T20 International, live and exclusive here on talkSPORT 2, and New Zealand so far won all 3 ODIs by the skin of their teeth in 2 of them, by 1 wicket and 1 run, defending 360, and they've won the first two T20 Internationals as well. But all to play for Ireland, as I said. It's the final taste which lingers longest.
Very well put, Manners. Yeah, there's a run chase on here. Still 100 runs required of 66 balls. So New Zealand just in a little bit of a rebuilding phase. I feel Dockrell can take another wicket here. Could be exciting.
Dockrell in with his left arm spinners, and Josh Little picks up and fields at short fine leg, and a direct hit. But the batsman was safely through for a leg bye, I fancy.
And Ian O'Brien spoke about it earlier about Josh Little, and I think he's a really good cricketer, and he's grown into this series. I know he's taken wickets regularly and been Ireland's best bowler so far, but even in the field he looks busy and he looks hungry for it, and that's exactly what you want from your players.
Dockrell to continue. 10th over, his second. That's down the leg side. It'll be called wide by umpire Alex Worf.
Yeah, just straight his line there, Dockrell. I think he was trying to attack his pads, go a little bit straighter, just got it wrong.
Here's Dockrell once again, and but he's pushed that one in towards hitting the top of leg, and I think he is trying to tuck up these 2 right-handed batsmen, but he's just managed to clip it out on the onside for a single. Daryl Mitchell has 9 off 7, Glenn Phillips has 19 off 17. One thing about New Zealand, and it's representative of their character as a you can't characterize a nation or apply a characteristic to a nation, but the majority of sportsmen do seem to be more prone to being calm than panicky, and they pace their innings really well, don't panic, and you think back to that short and pulled just for a single to deep mid-wicket. Think back to the T20 World Cup in the semi-final against England. Daryl Mitchell came in for his first game, was timing the ball like a sundial on a cloudy day for much of his innings, and the run rate went up and up and up to 12 and over, and suddenly he won it with an over and a half to spare. Smashed it, absolutely smashed it. That was in the UAE, getting New Zealand into the final. 81 for 3, another quick single, popped out into the offside on this occasion. Do you get that sense as well that they're in control? They're not, they're perfectly calm.
Yeah, definitely. We've got our own calm New Zealander in the comms box too.
That's right. Dockrell in slightly short, punched out towards long on, and they're through for a single. But Ireland need to keep taking wickets, I think is what I'm saying.
Yeah, they do. If they're going to put these 2 under pressure, Dockrell's actually bowling a really nice over here, mixed up his pace and his flight really well. But yeah, they're going to have to take wickets because this batting lineup just runs down the page.
Yeah, exactly. 3 more all-rounders to come, and genuine all-rounders as well. Dropped out on the onside. Clever batting from Daryl Mitchell. Guttles through for a single. And Lorcan Tucker whips his glove off, has a shy at the stumps, but no problem there. So 10 overs gone. Just 10 remaining in this match. And statistically, numerically, you have to say it's very close. 92 needed off the last 10 overs. But with the batting to come, 2 men, I think it's fair to say, are well set now. Well, if you fancied putting a few pounds on anyone, you'd have to go with New Zealand. Take you through the next 5 overs. You'll be with Ian O'Brien and Andrew McKenna.
But I said to you off air at the start of the day, it wouldn't have been jump on Ireland and then get out live when they got into a good position, because they certainly weren't favourites, but they were always going to shorten, because that's how cricket, that's how T20 works.
Absolutely.
I don't bet though, so it doesn't matter.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, the odds from 888 Sport, New Zealand were big odds-on favourites for this game. 83 for 3 they are in the chase, trying to make 175. 83 for 3, New Zealand at this stage. Ireland 79 for 2, as Josh Little starts his second over, and Darren Mitchell just drops into the offside. Paul Stirling fields at backward point, and there is no run. So Mitchell 11 from 10, Phillips 21 from 19. The men to be dismissed: Guptill for 25, Allen for 14, Cleaver for 5. Still plenty to come, but 92 from 59. These two have time to set things up, and as I mentioned earlier, we've seen English supporters have seen an awful lot of Daryl Mitchell this summer. They might want to see a little less of him in future. This one, he's clubbing out to Tector on the mid-wicket boundary with not a great deal of timing, but enough to take a single. So Mitchell goes to 12, 91 needed from 58 balls.
Yeah, Mitchell's aggregate, I think, for this series, the 3 one-days and the... he didn't play any of the one-day games, did he? But he has 14 and 5 in the 2 previous T20s. His aggregate isn't coming close to any of that sort of test aggregate.
In fairness, I mean, it would be very difficult to have matched it. Little in oars beats Phillips with pace outside of off stump. He's not a huge man, Little, but he bustles and bristles and gets good shoulder into that delivery, and it hurries on through. Beats Phillips outside of off stump, no run.
Just the left armour that he's always at you, Josh Little. Just at your hip, going across you, slides one into the pads. Little slow ball, all coming from different delivery areas in terms of the height of delivery. He's a real... sometimes this sounds derogatory, but he's a real genuine trier. And I'm not meaning that as in he just tries hard because he's not very good. He's just fun to watch. He's always going at 100% and loves what he's doing and keeps having bits of success and good bits of success.
Well, he's got 7 wickets in this series, in a 3-match T20 series, when bowlers are supposed to be fodder. That's a heck of a return. This one is dug in. It's hurried on to Phillips. Phillips pulls out to the mid-wicket sweeper, and there is just a single, 85 for 3.
And that ball right there sort of illustrates how and why he's such a threat. That's on to Glenn Phillips, who's going pretty good in this series. He's not doing too bad. Admittedly, it's a better pitch than the previous 2, but it's still not a genuine sort of T20 wham bam thank slam. But he just gets onto the bat and he hurries you up, and the arm speed doesn't change for the variations that he gets out. He's really hard to pick up.
Mitchell is waiting for Little. He bowls left arm over. Just a little bit of shake back into the right-hander, inside half of Mitchell's bat. It'll be Little himself who fields at square leg, and it'll just be a single. 86 for 3 New Zealand here on talkSPORT 2. 89 needed from 55, and when we're done and dusted, the darts takes over from Blackpool from the Winter Gardens for the World Match Play. As we've already mentioned, there's more cricket coming your way. The T20 series between Ireland and South Africa next month here on talkSPORT 2. Make sure you've got your DAB radio or your tablet or your phone with the talkSPORT app.
Do I need to start speaking with a South African accent? I'm enjoying this.
Feel free. Little in once again, past the umpire, and again just cramping him up, just slightly back of a good length, sort of bouncing waist high. There's nothing much that Phillips can do other than what he does really, and that's drop it into the offside and take the single that's on offer. New Zealand will take that at this stage. They're 87 for 3 after 11, 88 needed from 54, but there's very little being given away for free, which is the way it has to be from Ireland's point of view.
Josh, just going back to Josh Little, in terms of international cricketers, he's not tall. He's probably on the underside of average in terms of height. But the bounce he gets, the surprising pace that he gets, he's just a real awkward player to play against in the sense that I don't think you would ever get used to facing him if he's bowling. I just think he's always at you, and there's always a slight difference, but such a slight difference that you're never in front of him. And yeah, he's good fun to watch.
7th bowler coming into the attack for Ireland. Gareth Delaney bowling his leggies. Didn't see him used in the second game, but 1 over for 8 in the first game.
Didn't see him much with the bat today either.
No. In he goes. Oh, it's a short ball pulled down leg side. It's been helped around to deep backward square by Phillips. Unfortunately, Dockrell does get around and keeps it on the playing surface, but they will take 3. Good scurrying from New Zealand there. 90 for 3. Not a great ball, though, to start with.
No, not the best, but just a couple of overs ago, that ball, the runs to ball ratio was looking awkward. 85 from 53. That doesn't feel awkward anymore. And it's taken 6 balls for just a little bit of calm.
Mitchell comes down the pitch, bat and pad close together, pushes on the onside. They will take 1. They are thinking of the second, and Tector's coming in off of the boundary. And as a result of that, Mitchell has to get back at the non-striker's end, because there was a thought of a second. And with a throw like that, they barely would have crossed in the end. Right decision made, single taken.
Yeah, well, I heartily concur. Yeah, that is the correct decision. But they're deliberately hitting that pocket for 2, not there.
Delaney in, it's again slightly short. Phillips is turning on this one, pulling out to mid-wicket. They've taken 1. Dockrell's throw isn't the best on that occasion. He was just trying to get it in the air quickly, and it didn't have that much zip on the throw, and it means Phillips can get back for a couple. He goes to 28. New Zealand 93 for 3 halfway through the 12th.
They were doing some run-2 tests back with some of the wider squad across the winter. Glenn Phillips is one of, if not the quickest between the wickets.
Delaney in. Again, he's going short of a length, and the fact he's now bowled 3 there would seem to indicate it's deliberately so. It's play to mid-on. Adair has actually fumbled it.
And they didn't get that second.
No, I think they either didn't, they couldn't quite see, because his hat had come up.
Hiding behind the hat again.
They couldn't work out where the ball was, and the old adage, of course, don't run on a misfield. It's not completely true, of course, but if you're not sure where the ball is and there was a secondary fielder in the area, just don't take it on. 94 for 3, New Zealand. Mitchell is on strike, turning this leg break on the onside. There's no man inside the circle in front of square, so Tector's going to have to come all the way off the boundary, and it's a long single, 95 for 3.
It's good speeds here from Delaney. It's into the wicket, and it's quite quick, which it's not going to turn, it's not going to rip, but it's really hard to get good timing. It's really hard to set yourself up to hit with power. So those 1s and 2s are so important.
Final one of the over. Phillips, short arm jab into the onside, down to Adair at long on. Just comfortably fielded on that occasion. Single. So the over's gone for 9, which, 1.5 a ball? Well, that's the kind of equation at the moment. That's where New Zealand need to be. 12 overs gone, 96 for 3, so 79 needed from 48 here on talkSPORT 2.
Just get the feeling that was a roll the dice over. Let's see if they'll make a mistake. Let's see what kind of mistake the batters will make to a bowler they haven't seen a lot of across the series. They might, and in this sort of scenario, pretty much it's batters' mistakes as opposed to bowlers getting wickets. And I think that one was one of those. Let's just see if they'll make a mistake to the leg spinner.
Ireland posted 174 for 6 from their 20 overs. I can tell you, England have just gone past that at Old Trafford. 178 for 8 after 25 overs.
I was going to say, they've made hard work of that, haven't they?
That would be one way of putting it. It's 29 overs aside after a delayed start, so England have got 4 overs left of their innings. So I have no idea what a good score will be. Liam Livingstone is leading the way, batting it down at, I think it's 6 or 7, made 38 from 26. Sam Curran, 35 from 18, has got England to somewhere near respectability.
He's ridiculous. He should not be able to do what he does with both bat and ball. What a
scary good, isn't
wrong.
it?
It's too small, too slight.
Young to start a new over. It's a short ball, no real pace on it, sort of dug in, and it's pulled out to Dockrell at mid-wicket by Phillips. Takes the single. I have to say, it didn't sound great off the bat there. I think we're quite low down.
I think it might have just been this sort of slight slower ball, half-tracker, and toe of the bat. Yeah, real sort of crack where there's not a lot of wood. But
shows how good these bats are, because in the old days that would have been split from toe all the way up to handle, wouldn't it? That's a better ball. That's fully pitched up, but it's been driven straight back past the bowler and long on. Can't get around. Just over pitched, in fact, by Young, and it's driven by Mitchell on side of the stumps for 4 and the 100 up. 101 for 3.
Go on, tell me the last time you saw a classical on drive going back along the ground past the stumps for 4 in a T20. That is just gorgeous. Hold your shape, keep your head still. Wonderful from Mitchell. I should say Darren Mitchell, shouldn't I?
100 up in 12 overs and 2 balls. Next delivery, it's well fielded by Camphor down on the long leg boundary, because it's been flicked down. There's a spin on the ball and he's going down to get the old long barrier out, but it's very easy to have a monkey made of you there as you look a bit of a fool as the ball grips on the seam into the turf. But he manages to keep it on the playing surface.
Something that Ireland... after this ball, Andrew.
In goes Young to Phillips. Inside half of the bat through square leg. Again, there's nobody inside the circle leg side. So it's going to be the fielders coming off of the boundary. Dockerell's done well. Keeps it to a single. 103 for 3.
Something that Ireland didn't do through this phase. They didn't stay calm. They panicked and they lost. At one stage they lost 3 for 13 and then they got into a bit of bother. Caught up at the end. Nicely done. Well played. But something that's New Zealand have done right the way through the one-day games and the T20s, there's never been a real urgency panic.
Young goes in. That's a short ball. It's a quick ball as well. Mitchell goes on the pull and is beaten for pace through to the keeper, no run.
He didn't miss many pull shots during the Test series, did he? Like he was on that, and when he was taking it on, he was on that and played it well. And yeah, the head's a little bit messy there from Darren Mitchell. But New Zealand haven't they've stayed calm, taken it long, and waited for Ireland to make mistakes, and that's how they've won. That's how they won the first couple of ODIs.
Mitchell pushing this one to mid-on along the floor. They will take one. They're going to come back for a second. They're going to have to get a regular on at the striker's end. It's a great throw from Adair. Now, Lorcan and Tucker might not want to see the replay of this one, because Mitchell, if Tucker's taken that cleanly and takes the bails off in one movement, I think that's close. Tucker, as it is, doesn't take it cleanly.
Yeah, great piece of fielding from Mark Adair. In off the long on boundary, throws to the keeper's end, and Tucker,
oh my goodness,
Tucker, he's in such a bad position. Keepers come in front of the stumps. They've got gloves on. Keepers should be getting in front of the stumps. He's behind the stumps and taking it 1.5 feet to his right. If he's in front of the stumps, he takes that in front of his waist, and he just rolls and he just lets the hands go back to the stumps. He's still high. No, I've seen Tucker, I've enjoyed his keeping, made a stumping mistake in the last T20, and that for me is a positional mistake. I'm not worried about him dropping the ball, but that's a positional mistake as a keeper, getting a run out at your end when the ball's coming from long on. Yeah, that was quite a wee way out too.
70 needed from 42 balls, 105 for 3. New Zealand as we start the 14th over. McCarthy in to start his second over. The first went for 5. It's a shorter, slower ball outside of off stump, guided down to third man for a single. And yeah, just a couple of sloppy bits. There were 2 drop catches in 2 balls from Ireland, and I mean both. Both were goobers basically, weren't they?
Yeah, that was. Yeah, you get a life and then you get another one. And yeah, that was mad. And Phillips is still in and batting.
McCarthy to Mitchell, hurrying on to him, just turns on the onside. And they're playing sort of tip and run at the moment. They take the one. Texas does really well coming off of the boundary to keep that to a single, because again, they're thinking about that being a 2 into the onside, because they can get there quicker before the man coming off of the boundary. But Texter on this occasion beats Phillips and Mitchell.
Fraction 2 square, and so that the square boundary is shorter, so that means it doesn't take as long for the man to get to the ball. Just needs that more mid-wicket, the 45-degree sort of angle. But this is just set up for another Michael Bracewell clinic at the end of the innings.
McCarthy in. Well, that ball is actually going leg side-ish. It's been played out with the leading edge, and it's been thrown into the covers. They take one, shy at the stumps at the non-striker's end that isn't backed up, and they've ended up taking an overthrow.
Yeah, Paul Stirling's come in, picked it up, had a shot at the stumps, and long on is still out at long on as opposed to getting up and inside the circle. It's the opposite side of the field that has to be doing the unseen running. Ball went to the offside, the leg side does all the unseen work, and whoever was at long on mid-wicket there, they didn't get inside the 30-metre circle quick enough, and that's a real sneaky second.
I'd also say that I don't think McCarthy's done a great amount of work there as the bowler getting back to the stumps, because I think he could have actually tried to take that. He's there and he's trying to watch that ball onto the stumps. So it's just what we were talking about there, isn't it? It's about being able to take the ball, go back onto the stumps. But I mean, McCarthy, I think he could have actually pulled that ball in. He actually stood and watched it all the way. But anyway, look, it's gone now. It's 110 for 3.
I have no issue with Paul Stirling having a shy. No issue with that, and that's something that sort of a while back we might have gone, well, that's a irrelevant throw, why do it? And it's not on Paul Stirling, that's on the backing upfielders.
McCarthy is in. Mitchell is getting a ball that's a slower ball that's dug in, and he tries to guide it down to third man with an uppercut. Misses, so 65 needed from 37. No, you're absolutely right. Because everyone now, we know, everyone's shying. So if you are anywhere in the background, your job is to back up.
We used to call it the unseen running, and we'd acknowledge that at the end of the game, the unseen stuff, because it's off camera. International cricket, they only focus on the ball. They're not focusing on the other side of the field.
McCarthy, right arm over. He's bowled it down the leg side. That'll be a stretch of the arms for Alex Wharf. Calls it wide. Have to bowl it again. 111 for 3. As we're one ball short of 14 overs.
And games like in T20s, you leave the T20 arena as tired as having done a day in some test matches, in terms of you've run and run and run. You've gone out to mid-wicket, you've come back into the 30-metre circle to do some backing up for a ball that you had nothing to do with. It is a continuous jog/run.
McCarthy in, he's gone slower ball. Mitchell has preempted that one, hammered it out to Textor on the mid-wicket fence, but it is just a single. 112 for 3, so 14 overs gone, 63 now from 36, and that differential is almost now getting back towards the 2-ball region, and having been New Zealand pretty much of a cakewalk, all of a sudden Ireland have couple of tight overs, got themselves back into this in.
Yeah, just before I came on, it was like, oh, that's a bit twitchy. New Zealand, from a New Zealand perspective, in terms of the run chase. And then sat down and 11.1 overs were gone, and it was like, and that was when I said, oh, it's just, they haven't done anything special, but it's just that ratio looks all right. And a couple of overs later again, and it's just got a little tight. But going back to the first ODI, the second one, and there hasn't been any panic. And the batsmen still to come have done that catch-up. They've done the catch-up and the clean-up. Neesham, Bracewell, they have the confidence in those guys coming in.
Curtis Camphor for his third over. He starts with a wide. He's gone for the leg stump Yorker and has just gone a little bit too much down the leg side. And the umpire stretches the arms once again. Rolly Black on this occasion, 113 for 3.
And that's really good from Tucker, actually. He's had to go quite a wee way, the keeper, to his left. The unseen stuff there that Tucker had done, that wasn't too bad. There was some wee way down there for a white ball game.
It was a speared one down there. Oh, Mitchell's got this one in the slot from Camphor, and that's going to disappear miles over long on and clatter into the trees behind. Mitchell just steadied himself. It was like a baseball hitter in the home run derby. Just got himself in position with a long, lazy swing. It was like a golfer on the first tee putting it 350 metres down the middle. It was 6 from the moment it left the bat for the minimum of fuss.
There's a little bit of squeeze power on that, but yeah, just timing and levers. He's looking to swing it, and Camper's looking to get that reverse swing going, just with his release point and that delivery, but it didn't work, that one.
He goes short. Oh my goodness, that is savagely hit hard. And you hear the sound as it hammers into the advertising hoarding at mid-wicket. There's a photographer out there who barely moved, and it's hit the advertising hoarding no more than a metre away from him. So close to cleaning him up. Daryl Mitchell has got that ball out there in a heartbeat. 6 and 4.
Like I said, he doesn't miss out on the pull shot too often. He did a couple of overs ago. Camphor under pressure from ball one. Or after ball one, under pressure. Big wide down the leg side. And this has been where Ireland have to get better. It's coming back from getting the pressure on you. He's dished up a half volley and then the opposite.
Camphor goes in. Slower ball, short ball, pulled hard by Mitchell. Straight to Tector. That sort of cow corner position on the mid-wicket boundary. It's a single only. And this might be the over that just gets that scoring equation back sort of New Zealand's favour. It's now 51 from 37.
The longer you sit in, the more opportunities arise. The squeezier, the tighter, the twitchier it gets, the more mistakes are made. And normally by the team with the least amount of experience. They're sitting in here, New Zealand, and they all just wait and pounce.
Camphor in. Oh, Phillips has got one on the helmet. His helmet drops off. He's actually got the presence of mind to kick his helmet away from the stumps in case it drops onto the stumps, and then they take a leg by.
That's a pretty good connection.
That's amazing.
Too. That's a pretty good connection with us off 20 metres out towards point. I think it's hit Grill and just lifted the helmet up off his... right underneath his chin, Grill. So he's okay. Oh, bit of glove. Ball goes over the stumps. Helmet is within sort of 8 inches. Right foot's it out towards point and heads off for a well, it hit some glove. Did they give it runs or leg byes? But there was a little bit of glove there.
Well, we're in...
Oh, it's fun.
It's in Belfast, the home of Georgie Best. I mean, it was slightly less cultured than Georgie Best, but it was a good right-footed strike. He's going to have to go through the concussion protocol.
It was quite a twitchy right-footed strike. It wasn't a nice, calm, just slot it in the corner. It was more of the toe poke kind of. Oh.
Well, do you remember the old Peter Kay John Smith's advert? Have it! When he gives it it was basically one of those, wasn't it? He was absolutely making sure that helmet wasn't going near the stumps.
You're right, presence of mind. He knew exactly what had happened there. Adam Ferrari, New Zealand wicketkeeper, going back, had his helmet taken off his head, fell back and landed on the stumps, and he was out, hit wicket in essence. Glenn Phillips here being able to react quick enough and to get on the half volley, one bounce side. The helmet is heading away from the stumps, so it was probably never coming back towards the stumps. But that little twitch of, I guess that's a little bit of that shock, anxiety. He's given it
50 to win from 32 as Mitchell takes the next one down to Little at long off for a single. 49 needed from 31. 126 for 3.
I would have just, that shakes you up a little bit. And he probably didn't need to kick it in the end. But with that little fight and flight, he made sure it was all good. Headed off down the other end for a single.
Final ball of the 15th then. Camphor to Phillips. Does he go full? Oh, he's gone full, but Phillips has launched this one back over his head, and that is a 6 to finish the over. 132 for 3 on New Zealand. Phillips goes to 43 from 33 balls. He had his bell rung a couple of deliveries ago, but he's absolutely laid the knockout punch with that final ball. He's absolutely drilled that for 6. New Zealand need 43 from 30 on talkSPORT 2.
Gaff, that slot, you don't bowl there at this stage of the game, do you?
Anywhere but slot, normally.
Not the slot. Oh, my word.
Thank you very much indeed, Andrew McKenna and Ian O'Brien. Myself, Neil Manthorpe and Kath Dalton will take you through to the close. And you have to say that New Zealand now, 43 runs off 30 balls with 7 wickets in hand. I don't know how many times out of 20 you'd expect to win that, Kath, but it's high teens.
19.
19, yes. I was thinking that.
Well, Phillips dropped twice and also a run-out opportunity that Ireland could have had, and you can't do that against New Zealand. Well, you can, and this is exactly what happens.
Yes,
So
that's right. Yeah, there's no laws against dropping catches. You just lose matches. Mark Adair to bowl the 16th over. Ireland desperately need wickets. His first delivery is a slower ball, and it's back of a length and pulled down to George Dockrell at long on, and they go through for a single. 2 set batsmen, and you know that there's going to be boundary balls, and you also have the licence as well to attack and try and follow the old Lance Klusner rule of win it with an over to spare. Don't let it go into the last over, because that's when funny things happen. Saw a remarkable Vitality Blast game, the semi-final between Surrey and Yorkshire, where Yorkshire defended 5 runs off the last over. That's a good block hole Yorker from Mark Adair. Landed it perfectly, and it's just blocked out by Glenn Phillips. That was the perfect Yorker. Even so, it's a single, and New Zealand don't need too many more than singles at the moment. A runner ball here and a couple of boundaries, and they're home and dry. 41 needed off 28 balls. 134 for 3, target 175.
It's going to take something magical from Mark Adair. That was a wonderful Yorker, well defended.
He bowls a short one now, and it's hooked out towards deep backward square leg. There's nobody there. It's a 1 bounce 4. Nobody at deep backward square. There was a fine leg and a deep square leg, but not at deep backward square leg. And actually, it was a bit splicey, wasn't it? He got quite a lot of wood on it, but it was in the air, and it just mistimed it, but still 4.
He has hit some really good controlled pull shots, has Mitchell, but that one was not controlled at all, and took one hand off the blade as he hit that shot. Those are the ones that could fall anywhere, and they're not falling to Irish hands at the moment. This is a very good partnership between Mitchell and Phillips. A winning partnership, it looks.
Yeah, it is very hard to see how Ireland can win this. Another pace-off delivery, which is thumped down the ground to long on, where Dockrell fields, and they go through for a straightforward single. Glenn Phillips is certainly striking the ball a lot more cleanly than he did in the first game, when he nonetheless produced what turned out to be a match-winning unbeaten 68. Really caught up, and he was run a ball for his half-century, and then a flurry of boundaries in the last couple of overs put a winning total on the board for New Zealand. And now it looks like he's going to be there with another large contribution towards a match-winning run chase. He's 44 not out from 34 balls, a 4 and a 6. Daryl Mitchell has 42 from just 28 balls, 4 4s and 1 6. Mark Adair up to the crease once again, bowls a full toss, looking for another Yorker, and it's slapped out to the sweeper on the cover boundary, Curtis Camphor. Another single. 35 needed to win from 25 balls.
Yeah, unfortunately, you can't see how Ireland are going to take a wicket here. It just looks like New Zealand are in complete control. The only way they're going to take a wicket is a mistake by either Mitchell or Phillips, and I can't see that happening at the moment. But you never know in cricket. You just never know.
Here's Mark Adair, and that's driven out towards deep mid-wicket. Harry Tector comes thundering in from the boundary. Again, just a single. It's funny how often, and it's happening increasingly, where the unlikely is happening in cricket in all formats. You think you've seen it all, and in the last 5 Test matches played around the world, totals in excess of 250, 270 have all been chased successfully in the 4th innings, whereas previously the winning percentage in all Test matches going back to 1888 was only 7%. We've had 5 in a row now. That's Test cricket, but in T20 cricket you don't see too many games lost from a position like this.
Why do you think that's happening, Manners? Why is it just better sides, more depth inside, so they're taking it further to the wire?
I think players are less affected by history. I think for decades, a century, I think players just thought, and pitches also don't deteriorate in quite the same way that they used to. Here's Josh Little, bowls, thick inside edge, wild swing from Darryl Mitchell, trying to heave it over deep mid-wicket, and he's got an inside edge past his leg stump and down to the boundary for 4. But I don't think players are bound by history anymore, and I think particularly in T20 cricket, funnily enough, I think they believe anything's possible. You know, I think they just walk out now, and if they're chasing 240, they think, why not? And whereas, you know, they were bound by this convention that, well, you know, history tells us you just don't do that. Just history tells us that just doesn't happen. And I think they were tentative as a result, and a lack of belief, and I think that has been a fundamental change in the way that batters particularly go about their business. Right, 30 needed from just 23 balls, or just 30 needed from 23 balls. Josh Little in again, short and pulled by Glenn Mitchell out towards deep mid-wicket. What do you think? It's another single. What do you think's changed?
I tend to agree. I think there's also possibly better batting depth, more all-rounders. We've seen certainly in T20 cricket a lot more all-rounders playing rather than specialist batter, specialist bowler. And that fearless attitude that you just spoke about, Manners, I think that is coming into the game of cricket. It's almost, if you get out and you've got a game plan, then that's fine. Whereas before it used to be, why have you played that shot? Why have you got out on that shot? I think there's a balance to be had as well. But it does seem to be a more fearless attitude, a more fearless mindset.
Swung down the ground, not timed for once, and it will bounce a couple of times before reaching Markadere on the long-on boundary. And they go through for another run, 147 for 3.
And Josh Little, who has been the pick of the Irish bowlers so far this series, and bowled well in the India series as well. I feel a bit sorry for him because he's bowling in a losing cause at the moment, but he's still giving it everything he's got, and I like to see that.
28 needed off 21 balls. You sense that flurry of boundaries will end this quite quickly now. Short, top edge, up into the air. It might be a wicket. Can a fielder get there? Yes, he does. Josh Little off his own bowling. He left it to no one else. I tell you what, he had some ground to make as well. There were a couple of fielders trying to get there from the boundary, but Josh Little has thought, actually, that's my catch. I'm the closest to it. A loud cry of mine. Everyone else backed off, and just when you thought it was all over, Darryl Mitchell has top-edged Josh Little. Good return catch.
Yeah, wonderful return catch by Josh Little. He was leaving that to nobody else. He's seen others try to catch today, and he thought, I'm having that one, that's all mine. But a wonderful innings as well. We must not forget Darryl Mitchell, 48 off 32 deliveries, hit some wonderful shots, a lovely on-drive back down the ground, and that big blow over the sight screen as well. So he's played a vital knock for New Zealand when they were under pressure, and he's done a job for his team.
Jimmy Neesham strides to the crease, and he is known as something of a finisher. And there's also, I expect, Kath, we've done all 6 games now here at talkSPORT 2. Michael Bracewell, well, he's not the find of the tour because he's 31 years old, so he's been on the radar for a long time, but he's certainly, I think, been the player of the tour across the 2 series.
I'd agree. I think he, particularly, in that ODI, unbelievable player. Just dug his team out at the right time, batted magnificently well.
Possibility that he might not be needed today. Another wicket would have to fall. That's short and pulled out towards Dockrell again at deep square leg. And there's a single.
The other thing we mustn't forget is he took a hat-trick. And I think I was reading only 3 New Zealand bowlers have done that in T20 international cricket. So that's quite a rarity as well.
Can you name them, or should we get Ian O'Brien to name them for us?
I can name them if I look at my notes.
Oh, good. Excellent. Yeah, good research, Kath Dalton.
Thank you very much. Do I get extra cash for that now?
Performance bonus. 148 for 4. Tim Southee's one.
Jacob Oram.
Jacob Oram. Okay.
In 2009, Tim Southey in 2010 against Pakistan.
And there's a White Ferns player. Did you not find her? Don't worry, Scott Taylor to the rescue. Pushed away by Jimmy Neesham, the left-hander, for a single. Oh, in fact, they're going to push for 2. They are pushing for 2, and they make 2. That's very, very good running. Scotty Taylor, our intrepid and industrious producer, is able to rescue you, Kath. He's going to tell you who. Anna Peterson.
She would not be happy. I played cricket with her.
Against Australia, 2017, she took a hat-trick in T20 cricket.
Yeah, she actually was. She was over in Ireland when I was over. She came over as the overseas for some of our cricket.
Well, let's hope that nobody tells her that you forgot about her hat-trick.
I know, if you're listening, I'm very sorry.
And great work, as always, from the one and only Scott Taylor, who's not only able to produce the show, but help out at vital moments as well. Right, just 25 needed off the last 3 overs. 150 for 4. We're at that stage of T20 international cricket where 25 off 1 over is possible. So 25 off 3. In fact, New Zealand scored 24 off the last over of the first one-day international to win that game, chasing 301 to win. Single now as Craig Young returns into the attack. Pushed away down to long on. Mark Adair comes running in to do the fielding. But you just feel that New Zealand are in control and actually have been for the last 8 to 10 overs.
They have been in complete control of this game in the last 8 to 10 overs, man, is correct. And it's just going to take a lot for these Irish bowlers to defend such a low total coming into the last 3 overs.
Young in again and clipped away by Glenn Phillips to bring up his 50 with a single out towards deep mid-wicket. They thought about pushing. In fact, they did come back for the second. My goodness me. Glenn Phillips was so quick between the wickets, he even had time to pause at the non-striker's end as if that was it. He was going to take the one, and then saw that he was quick enough to beat the fielder who was running in from that 78 metre boundary on the deep mid-wicket, square of the wicket on the leg side, and came back for the second. It's brilliant running. He's puffing a bit now though, but very, very quick, Glenn Phillips. He actually slipped at the non-striker's end. It wasn't a pause. He's actually got so low in order to push off for the second run that he slipped, and I thought that he'd stopped deliberately, but he managed to scramble back to his feet and complete the second run. 51 not out from 39 balls. Here's Young once again, and this time it is pushed straight to the fielder at mid-wicket. Andy Balbernie, the captain, and they're not able to go through for a single. 21 needed from 15 balls. There's plenty of time, but suddenly things would not look so comfortable if Ireland are able to find a couple of dot balls. That's how quickly things change in the closing stages of a T20 international. 21 needed off 15. Short, pull shot, top edge, bounces up into the air, and Lorcan Tucker screaming after it, but realised he wasn't going to get there, and it bounces harmlessly. But that was a false shot. Anyway,
Manners, just to let you know something, earlier on in the game there was that brilliant one-handed catch in the crowd. We managed to identify who it was because it was so nonchalant. It's the former Scotland international Calvin Burnett, who's actually at the game on a stag do wearing the kit of the former Ireland international Rory McCann.
Oh, that is absolutely brilliant. Spanked away out to the cover field. Just say that again. That's worth repeating.
So, Calvin Burnett, the former Scotland international player, is on his stag do, is at this game, which is why lots of other people around him were wearing kilts, but he's actually wearing the kit, he's in full kit, of the former Ireland international Rory McCann, which is why he's got a shirt with McCann on the back.
And earlier in the first innings, he took a one-handed catch at deep mid-wicket, holding a beer in his left hand, and the cricket ball landed perfectly in his right hand. He took the catch, didn't spill a drop, and it was a priceless moment. So fantastic work, Andrew McKenna. Brilliant stuff. 18 to win. I tell you what, and 13 balls. Dot ball here, please, Craig Young. No, Jimmy Neesham heaves it out to deep mid-wicket for 6. Just when you thought it might get close, the 6 changes everything, and now the Black Caps need just 12 from 12 balls. 12 from the last 2 overs. But you know what? The game would have also changed profoundly if that had been a dot ball. Suddenly, 18 off 2 overs and things can go wrong. But 12 off 12, nothing can go wrong. Surely, can it?
Surely not. Wide delivery by Young, a slow ball, he's got his head in his hands, he's gutted by that. He also knew, as if he got a dot ball there, it would have put a bit more pressure on these New Zealand batters, but that was hit thunderously. Absolutely smashed it, didn't he, Jimmy Neesham? Wonderful shot.
Yep. And, Josh Little's going to bowl the penultimate over, if it turns out to be the penultimate over. We've got another lost ball situation. The oak trees at the Dundonald end of Civil Service Cricket Club ground in Stormont, Belfast, has it's kind of a Bermuda Triangle in those trees, that things disappear, especially cricket balls. They just don't come back. Where'd they go?
Don't go in there,
It's like odd socks in the washing. Where do they go?
I don't know. I have many an odd sock, actually.
I think they might have run out of replacements because everybody's still looking for it, and there's no sign of the 4th umpire with a box of replacements. So, sorry lads, we're done. That's it. The stocks had run out.
Have you ever seen a game ended because they don't have enough cricket balls?
No.
That could be new, couldn't it?
That would be new. We were talking about unusual stoppages in play during the one-day internationals, and we had a rich variety between the 4 of us. But we do have a replacement ball now. It looks a bit dog-chewed, so it may be a net ball, but that's okay. We've only got 2 overs to go. We've only got 12 runs required from 12 balls. You have a dog, Kath?
I don't. I wish I did.
Have you ever thrown an old cricket ball for a dog and seen the condition it gets into? We're talking about a big dog. There's a direct hit here. Could be close. Quick single pushed out towards mid-on. Super pick up and throw. Hit the stumps. The Irish seem quite confident. Direct hits.
The umpire 2 director. We have an umpire review.
Direct hits are often
at the striker's end.
Successful. Glenn
angle,
Phillips is the man who is in trouble, and he's Paul Reynolds is the 3rd umpire. So
okay, bat is grounded over the popping crease.
Yeah, safe.
I've made my decision for the lights.
He's safe. It was Glenn Phillips actually was at the non-striker's end, and he was just saying to Jimmy Neesham, he was giving him the thumbs up as a question, like, you all right, mate? You safe? And Jimmy Neesham was nodding, and he was right. He was a foot over the line, or his bat was.
Comfortably in the end. We got excited for a brief moment there. Thought something could have been happening.
Right. 11 off 11 for New Zealand to complete a clean sweep. I'm not so sure how much consolation it will be for the All Blacks, who went down 2-1 to their Irish counterparts last weekend in a 3-match series. Top edge swing by Jimmy Neesham and 4 runs. Well, he's credit to Josh Little. You're not going to defend 11 off 11 balls with 11 Yorkers, frankly. I don't think there are many cricketers, bowlers in the world who are able to bowl 11 perfect consecutive Yorkers. So he's gone for the... Was that a slow ball bounce, Kath? I'm not sure. Anyway, top edge hook over the keeper's head for 4.
Yeah, it looked like he just rolled his fingers slightly on that, but yeah, you're correct, man, as it's very difficult to get your Yorkers right every ball. I think you'd have a big IPL contract if you could.
Yeah, like a Lasset Malinga type. In his heyday type.
I have been trying.
168 for 4, just 7 needed from 10 balls for New Zealand to go 3-0 in the T20 International Series to match their well, highly exciting and entertaining, not entirely convincing 3-0 win in the ODI series. But this has been better from New Zealand in the T20 internationals. That's a slower ball from Little, back of a length, pulled by Neesham, and I think it hit Glenn Phillips, his partner, at the non-striker's end. It was ricocheted off, and they're able to go through for a single.
He did. He smashed it back at his partner, who couldn't get out of the way in time. You always thank the batter when you're at the non-striker end for doing this. But really good delivery by Josh Little. I like his mix-ups. I like the fact that he's still bowling to the best of his ability and trying to take it as deep as he can.
6 off 9 balls. Glenn Phillips is 55. Jimmy Neesham has 13 off 4 with a 6 and a 4. And Glenn Phillips finish it in one. I think they'll finish it this over with an over to spare. Will they finish it this ball? 6 required, 9 balls to go. And I know it sounds a little bit trite, and I don't mean it to be patronising in any way, but Ireland have a lot to be encouraged by from this tour against New Zealand, even though they don't have a victory to show for their efforts. I mean, that's short and pulled away again, just another single. Phillips moves up to 56, but to post a total of 359 in a run chase when they needed 360 in the one-day internationals was an extraordinary effort.
It certainly was, and it's just been one game I think that they didn't show up in, and that was the second T20 international. The rest of them, they've had a bit of a battle.
Here is Josh Little again, bowls. Oh, a slap shot from Jimmy Neesham, top edge, and it's gone over down towards third man and into the boundary for 4, so the scores are level with 1 ball of the 19th over to go. But it wasn't short, it was back of a length. Neesham has tried to, well, it was little agricultural really. I think he was just flat batting it baseball style in the general direction of over the bowler's head. I think he was aiming, and he's got a big top edge down to the third boundary for 4.
That's one of those that says 4 in the book, but you're not quite proud of it. Just swung and swung hard.
1 needed, 7 balls remaining. Little in bowls. Neesham ends it with the maximum. That is a slot delivery, and it's pumped into the New Zealand changing room area, or the little marquee changing room area, and it's caught by Ish Sodhi, who has a little mock celebration. Ish Sodhi takes the catch, but it's 6 runs. New Zealand finish 180 for 4. From exactly 19 overs, they've won by 6 wickets with 6 balls to spare, and pretty comprehensive, pretty convincing in the end from the Black Caps. But as I said, it was again, I mean, Ireland have put 174 on the board. It wasn't enough in the end, but as you said, Kath Dalton, they have been competitive. They've been really competitive in 5 of the 6 matches. They could easily have won 2 of the ODIs. They would feel probably should have won 2 of the ODIs. And that's all positive signs for them. But, as far as New Zealand are concerned, they go back home with 3 T20.
Ireland will take a lot of heart from this, although they'll be massively disappointed that they haven't won a game, and I think if they just won 1, that would have really helped them.
Kath, Ian, I'm back. What would their target have been at the start of the series? The home team playing against a weak New Zealand team, would they have been targeting 1 at each format, 2 in each format?
I think you go into every game trying to win it.
Yeah. But then be realistic.
I really don't think. You've been in change rooms.
No, but that's what I mean. Like, I've gone away on tours and gone, if we can win 2 of these 5 games against I think we've had a pretty successful tour. there's 6 games. Do Ireland expect to win 2 at least? They expect to win half of them.
It's a difficult. Yeah, I know what you said.
You always go in to win, absolutely, and they've been so close. The 3 T20s have been a little bit more distant than the 3 ODIs. But what were they expecting? What were they really, truly expecting to do against New Zealand?
I think at least win a couple of games, at the very least. And they got themselves very close. They got themselves into some very good positions to go on and do that, but they just haven't executed consistently and for long enough.
I think that's exactly, hope to win a couple of games and then sneak another. And maybe win one of the series. So if you win one in each, and then you win 2 in one of the, you win one of the series. And I think they would have wanted to win one of the 2 series. So happy with 2 wins, maybe get 3. But just the composure that New Zealand have shown, chasing down the totals, and then in this game they've just made that look easy towards the end.
Yep, New Zealand won the first game by 31 runs. They won the second by 88. They've taken this one by 6 wickets with 6 balls to spare. So New Zealand take the T20 International Series 3-0. Don't forget, of course, that it's not the last T20 cricket we've got featuring Ireland here on talkSPORT 2, because next month they take on South Africa. Those games here on talkSPORT 2. So stay with us for those games. By the way, mentioning South Africa, they have bowled England out for 201 in the one-day international at Old Trafford, reduced down to 29 overs a side. England bowled out 28 overs and 1 ball. The South African reply is underway. They're 5 without loss in the second over. So
everyone's getting a bat in the England team, aren't they? Everyone's getting a chance, aren't they?
Make sure you take your pads. Is the instruction even to the bowlers?
The bowlers will be asking for extra bats from their sponsors too. The bowlers will be wanting 3, 4, 5 bats in their bag.
Right.
Apologies.
Yes.
Just going back to asking you about how many Ireland would expect to win. I think New Zealand would have lose no more than 1 in each of the series. New Zealand would have gone, if we come home with 4 wins, win both series and come home with 4 wins, I think New Zealand would have been very happy. And so hence the I sort of wondered what you'd expect Ireland to be happy with.
By the way, for the record, the man of the match and the man of the series,
Glenn Phillips,
is the same man. Yes, it's Glenn Phillips.
Sorry, I didn't know that, but it had to be of what I have seen him play in TV games in New Zealand. And it's been that word that I've used in the last 3 T20s on this pitch. It's been hard, but the ugly runs have been worth so many more. And then you cash in at the when the bowlers are stressing out and make mistakes at the end, and that's where he's been so good. He hasn't panicked, and then he's put it away.
Final thoughts on this one. As I've just mentioned, Kath, that we're going to see Ireland in a T20 series against South Africa. What do you think they've identified from this series? Maybe good thing, one good thing, and maybe one thing that they need to improve on going forward.
I think the most positive thing has been Josh Little, or 2 positive things, and Harry Tector. So 2 players that are very young, and you feel that they will be very important for Ireland going forward, not just this summer leading into a World Cup, but also over the next couple of years. I think they're going to be standout performers for Ireland. 2 areas to improve: power play with the bat, and the back end death overs with the ball. If they can improve both of those, get more runs in that power play spell. We've seen 1 good innings from Paul Stirling in this T20 International Series today, but Andy Balbernie hasn't performed. And then the back end of the T20s with the ball, they need somebody to bowl those death overs and bowl consistently well.
A little bit cheeky, but top order has to stay in line. The top order has to stay in line. They have to be getting in front of their stumps, not away from their stumps.
So there you go, those games coming up very shortly indeed for you. Don't go away here on talkSPORT 2. We've got more live sport coming your way this evening as the darts continues. The World Match Play at the Winter Gardens up in Blackpool, so plenty coming up. To take you there next, though, it's the best of our cricket show. Following on, Steve Harmison and Neil Manthorpe coming your way next here on talkSPORT 2. Lovely shot from Paul Sterling. Yo, beauty! What a shot again from Sterling.
Smashed over extra cover now. Soddy has been Sterling over extra cover for 6. Brutal power. Slog sweep from Sterling. He's hit that very high and very long indeed. Good delivery, and Sterling has edged it to the keeper, Dane Cleaver.
Oh, Tucker's trying to swing this into the leg side, has got an outside edge and has been caught at third man. Mitchell goes in, and Delaney has dropped this one onto his stumps. Tried to ride the bounce, tried to guide it to third man and gets himself in a tangle.
Not a good series by Gareth Delaney, who'll be hugely disappointed.
Bowled him, Soddy, with the googly, between bat and pad, and he gives him the gentlest, most polite send-off you'll ever see. Oh, full toss from Jimmy Neesham, which is flicked away by Mark Adair for 6. Another full toss, another launch down the ground, straight back over the bowler's head. 6 more. Oh, and he slogged it again. Well, heaved it baseball style for 6 more. Over long on.
It's been the baseball all-stars game this weekend past, and that is all-star quality.
Ireland have finished with 174 for 6.
Oh, balls in! Absolute beauty! Guptill down the pitch, slams him back over his head. Plenty of hang time on that one. Cleaver hits it straight down the fielder on the mid-wicket fence's throat. Catch taken.
Top edge, the third catch. This one will be taken surely. Josh Little. Sweep shot from Martin Guptill. Top edge.
Oh, Mitchell's got this one in the slot from Camphor, and that's going to disappear miles over long on and clatter into the trees behind. Goes short. Oh my goodness, that is savagely hit hard, and you hear the sound as it hammers into the advertising hoarding at mid-wicket. Oh, he's gone full, but Phillips has launched this one back over his head. And that is a 6.
Short, top edge, up into the air. It might be a wicket. Can a fielder get there? Yes, he does. Josh Little off his own bowling. Dot ball here, please, Craig Young. No, Jimmy Neesham heaves it out to deep mid-wicket for 6. Just when you thought it might get close, the 6 changes everything. New Zealand finish 180 for 4. From exactly 19 overs, they've won by 6 wickets with 6 balls to spare.
Hitting live ball-by-ball commentary as Ireland take on New Zealand in the 3rd T20 International.
Down to one knee, hoisted up and over and into the crowd for 6.
On talkSPORT 2.
Hello and welcome to the Cricket Collective on talkSPORT 2 as part of the Following On podcast. I'm John Norman, and today bringing you one of our many in-depth lunch features from the recent Test series between India and England. Here, Jarrod Kimber sits down with the former England wicketkeeper Matt Prior to discuss what it takes to keep wicket at the highest level and how to keep successfully in Asia. For plenty more content like this, as well as in-depth reviews, exclusive match highlights, make sure you subscribe to Following On, now available via the free talkSPORT app. But without further ado, let's bring you the art of wicket-keeping with Matt Prior.
And he gets an under edge and is out, caught at the wicket. Shorter, quicker, smarter, too smart for Brathwaite. Good catching from Johnny Bairstow, as I've pointed out, looked tidy behind the stumps today.
Oh, he's got him stumped! And Rashid has gone straight past the charging Chandimal. Lovely glove work from Ben Folkes. Not that it was his most challenging stumping.
Archer is in. Oh, that's an absolute beauty. And he's nicked off Dean Elgar. He's taken the glove. Josh Buttler is diving away to his right, almost down the leg side.
Here is Buttler.
Edge gone! What a catch! Ben Folkes diving up to his left. Very, very fine catch with the man
with the gloves on. Watching as Woakes goes in, takes the edge, caught behind Johnny Bairstow.
You're listening to talkSPORT 2's cricket coverage. I'm Jared Kimber, and with me is Matt Pryor, and we're going to talk about wicket-keeping, and wicket-keeping in Asia. My first question, though, is, Matt, when the first time you went over to keep in Asia, what was the first thing you noticed about how it was different to anywhere else?
The very first thing is how physically demanding it is compared to anywhere else. I remember people saying to me, keeping wicket at Perth, God, it must be difficult. 30 yards back, ball flying through, coming at pace. And actually it's complete opposite. What a pleasure it is to be stood that far back. You get plenty of time to see the ball coming through. You move your feet. Less diving, so less physically demanding on your body, your shoulders, etc., etc. But more importantly, the ball's coming at sort of waist height, chest height the whole time. So it's your lowness to the ground is less. In the subcontinent, you are squatting and you're in that sort of low posture position for a lot of the time. So you're either up to the stumps for the majority of the time. And if you're not up to the stumps, you're still so close. So Jimmy Anderson, Stuart Broad, whoever's bowling, their pace hasn't changed. They're still bowling 85, 88, 89 miles an hour. But you're now not 30 yards back, you're 10 yards back. So everything is happening far quicker, you get less time to react. And it just puts so much more stress on your body, your quads, your Achilles, knees, whatever it may be. So the physical demand is incredible. And then because you've got less time to react, it obviously puts a huge increased pressure on your technique. Because if you aren't technically sound, you're not going to get those half chances, or not even half chances. The regular chance feels like a half chance because you are so much closer and your reaction time is less. So the physical demand and then the demand on your technique are the two, real things that stand out.
It's really interesting, even factoring in that you are closer and that it's more demands on your body even against the seamer. But I want to talk about the difference of standing up and not standing up. In county cricket, and I know there are some medium paces in county cricket which wicketkeepers come up to the stumps in, but in county cricket, 22% of the deliveries bowled are by spinners. Ben Foakes at Surrey, because he has to, face so many of bats as balls, is up the stumps 26% of the time. In India, it's 50% in the last year, so 50% of spin. In Asia in general, though, it's 62% of the time. It is a completely different game for a wicketkeeper, almost as far removed as anyone else in cricket. There is wicketkeeping in Asia and there is not wicketkeeping in Asia.
Yeah, certainly, and that, you sort of look at someone like MS Dhoni, for instance. I mean, absolutely outstanding up to the stumps, and I will be shot down here incredibly, but standing back, he wasn't that good. Coming over to England when the ball was wobbling and different things, he got found out quite a lot, but up to the stumps, there was no one. He was so sharp, so fast. And again, it's what you're brought up with doing. As you just said, the stats there, 60% of the time you're up to the stumps. And then for an English wicketkeeper, so it's, we'll have foreign keepers come over here and have to deal with a wobbling ball, which for us is something that you get you. Well, I'm not sure you ever get used to the wobbling ball. It makes you look stupid at times, but it's something that it doesn't surprise you. Going over to the subcontinent, your mind shifts because you're not dealing with a wobbling ball. In fact, you're not even stood back that often. You're stood up to the stump. So even your training, your preparation, everything you're working on is about that half chance up to the stumps, taking the catch, the stumping, the big high bouncing ball going through the gate, and how you. I mean, when I was working with Bruce French, we were trying to work on. Could you get to a point where actually you're taking the ball one-handed, stood up to the stumps, because it allows you to cover more area, more reach. Now, I never got the opportunity in the game to do it, but you're trying to challenge yourself to cover more ground, but it's all about up to the stumps and standing up to the spinners. The other thing is, in England, when the spinners are on, they don't tend to bowl as fast. I mean, we're seeing in this Test match, Axar Patel, for instance, coming in, he's bowling 90 k's an hour. So in the subcontinent, the spinners are bowling much quicker, and it's still turning and bouncing. So it's that kind of combination of added speed, added pace on the ball, added bounce, and added spin puts your technique under a huge amount of pressure. And that's why someone like Ben Foakes will stand out, because he just makes it look so easy. He's so good. His posture, his technique. I mean, I've watched him this game. This wicket is a tough wicket to keep on, and he's honestly made it look actually